Hi guys, this is supposed to be an Arteta In and Out debate, but no one's here. So, since no one's here, I'm just going to sort of make my own points about why Arteta's out, because I've been running around like an idiot, trying to make sure that everyone gets here on time, trying to make sure that everyone's okay with the time, but clearly, no one's here, right? So, we're just going to go into some of the reasons why I'm Arteta out. So, obviously, as we all know since the Tottenham game, we're not opening the lines, Charlie, we're not opening the lines, this is an Arsenal fan debate, right? Not at any point, it's an Arsenal fan debate, right? Like I said, we have got, I've been Arteta out since the North London derby in November, something like that. And yeah, I feel the guy's incompetent. Right? I feel the guy has been put in a position that he can't handle. I'll play devil's advocate if you like. Yeah, I wish, but hey, right? To be honest, the way things have been going on Twitter just recently, right? Today, I'm actually fucked off. But there you go, right? But hey, right? But we move. So like I said, I feel the guy's incompetent. I don't feel the guy has got the right sense of what he's doing. It's the tactics, if there are any tactics, are bewildering to me. I think if he is trying to do anything, it's trying to defend, but he's lowered player standards. He's lowered the club standards and the fan standards of what they want from this club. How the fuck are we celebrating around a 32 win? Right? Like we've won the World Cup. It's just unreal. I feel that players now regressed. Aubameyang's not scoring. Lacazette's not scoring. Well, he scored a few, but you know what I mean, right? He's who else? Pepe's only just recently picked it up. Xhaka doesn't. He needs Partey to hold his hand. David Luiz keeps making mistakes. Tierney's about the only really shining lights that we would keep out of this squad, right? Martinelli, Saka, Smith Rowe, Tierney, Leno, and the likes. But like I said, this guy, and I've got Bargav who's supposed to be moderating this bollocks, but there you go. Just don't.
Are you Arteta in or out?
No, Bargav, just don't, because I'm now getting fucked off with Twitter. I really am. Right? I'm getting fucked off with it. Honest to God. I've been running around like a headless chicken, and now I'm being called out every name on the sun because apparently I want to do a fucking watch-along!
Yo. End the stream.
No! No one even backed me!
Oh, yo, end the stream. Seriously.
All I've done is be nice to people! Support everyone!
It's supposed to be a debate, so.
It's supposed to be a debate, but...
No, we're gonna have the debate. We'll do it like another time.
We'll debate amongst ourselves, but there you go. But go on.
Yeah. No, we're gonna do the debate another time. It's just some of the people were at work and couldn't get on today. We'll definitely do the stream like on Sunday, and it'll be a really good stream because I've read about like 200 pages on this.
I said it would because it went 15. I mean, Nitsesh is on. I'll give him that. He's actually tried.
I've read about 200 pages on this, so it's going to be a good debate, and all that stuff will get out there.
I know you're struggling with where you are. I do appreciate you trying to come on. I've tried to make it later, but
Yeah. No, logistically, I think what ended up happening is it was just like a logistics issue.
No, but where is
Yeah,
the guy who was supposed to be here on at 4 p.m. UK time?
Uh,
just before PM.
he's one's at work. I think one's stuck at work, and then the other one, it just turned out to be a bad time for him. So I tried, but just we'll get it done soon.
I said 6 PM, but I don't get why watching that.
You guys want to do a quick one? You guys want to talk about this real quick, and then
Yeah,
we'll have like
we could do, but
Let's do that.
Do you want to have a quick debate about this, Nitsesh, or do you want to leave it?
Sure, I'm in.
No, because I can. I mean, it's just like I have like a lot of stuff that I can get to, and it will be very proper when we can get it done. So.
Yeah. Even if I wake up in the middle of the night, I can have a debate. I'm always up for it.
See, one thing. So three things I want to talk about with Arteta is one is tactical side of things, man management, and then I also want to talk about like transfers and all that, and we'll have like a complete like picture of in or out.
We can go more in depth about it, but
I've been reading a lot, so we will cover this. I just want to make sure we can get everybody else too. So
yeah, I think
basically
it would be go on.
Yep, and so let's just start off. I don't mind. I am all in.
All right. Well, I mean, let's talk about it. Nitsesh, you're like a big Arteta inner, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask you.
I am one of the few rare species left on this planet.
Let me talk to you about this. Like, what on the tactical side of things? Like, what do you like about Arteta? Let's talk about that side.
I think the main thing is that why fans criticize him is for the losses. But if they have gone ahead and analyzed some of those games, like the one that we lost to Spurs, we lost to Leicester, I think we played good football. Unfortunately, the result did not work in our favor. We could not finish our chances, take our chances in the final third, and that is where we have lost the game. And Aubameyang not firing. If Aubameyang didn't fire for Emery or maybe say Arsene Wenger in his last season, I think we would have still been in trouble. We have always had informed strikers, more or less. When we didn't have one, you remember the Giroud situation. So you know what can happen when your main striker is not in form, and that being Aubameyang. Him not being in form, that messed a lot of things up. Arteta tried to change his tactics around, playing Lacazette to link up the play, playing him as a striker. So when your main striker is not firing, that didn't happen with Emery. The 2 seasons that he had Aubameyang for, it never happened for him. Somehow or the other, he has managed to get good results with Aubameyang firing. But the second Arteta started his first season, this season, not last. Because when he ended last season, Aubameyang was on fire, and even in pre-season, he was on fire. But as soon as there is a saturation point, Aubameyang out of the picture, Arteta has done well despite an out-of-form Aubameyang. Whatever be the reason, his family problems, whatever, everything else, he's done well in a way that I'm saying that we are obviously where we were last season with Emery as well, but we can go higher.
Okay, let me ask you. There's 2 parts to this question because what do you think Arteta's best games have been this year?
I think a lot of people said the Chelsea one.
The Chelsea one?
I think even United was tactically good. We have always, like both the occasions, I don't know whether it is Solskjaer crumbling under pressure or whether it is Arteta doing well. We have produced results there.
That's fine. And what else?
Yeah, so both the United games, I'll say.
Both
and yeah, more or less.
Okay.
Don't you think Arteta got it right tactically? Even the 2 Leicester games.
Okay.
I think we dominated Leicester in both the games. The only thing was they got a goal from Jamie Vardy in the first one, and we didn't score again our chances, which was the problem at that point of time.
Okay.
Even the Spurs game, if you see the stats and you go through them, we have dominated a lot of stats against Spurs, but we have ended up losing.
Okay, Steven, let me come to you on that. How do you respond to that? Like, where he says, like, he said those are his best games. What do you think? Chelsea, Man United, and those are the 3 best games.
So Chelsea, Man United, and what?
Leicester.
Leicester, yeah. Chelsea, it's half he was good, the fact that he took out Willian and he put Saka in, because I don't even. Part of me feels that if Willian didn't have that to be off because of COVID and stuff, I do feel he would have played him instead. But with Man United, both teams were crap. It was if we didn't get a penalty, we would have drew that game. Right, to be honest, the Spurs game, that was a crime. That was a crime. Right, you should never settle like that. You should never play like that. You should never ever. You should at least fight. And what's worse is that he tried to bring Partey when Partey was clearly not fit from the start.
Hey Nitesh, I think you're. Is there stuff in the background going on?
Is that about?
So I'll mute my mic. I'll mute my mic while you're speaking.
All right. Yeah. So continue, Steven.
Yeah, so the fact that he brought on Partey knowing he wasn't fit and started him, right? Then realizing that shit, we've now mullered him because by the half-time whistle. Then to make it worse, he pushes him back on the pitch. Just again shows that if you can't accept that some guys are just injured and you're gonna have to play something different, right? Then I don't know where you go as a manager, right? Because you should know that players that are not fit, you're taking a huge risk, right? And Partey, since he's come in, he had no injuries.
Steven, we'll get to the man management side of things.
Yeah. But tactically, you could say, we might concede less goals. But there's no point conceding less goals if you don't score, right? And very few games, even in that losing one, you can pick up the Leicester one. You could probably pick out the Wolves game where he's lost, right? For example, where we played brilliant. I can even admit that. Even I put my hands up and said, that's not his fault. That's just outside factors, right? But in terms of like that run, the Everton game, the Spurs game, right, the Man United game, those games we just weren't gonna win, right? We weren't gonna score. They didn't look like scoring at all. I mean, the Everton game we had a penalty. That was the only way we were going to score, if we had some set piece or we had some luck. Let's put it that way, because it might have been right defensively, but offensively we had no balance. Whereas the year before we played as a back three,
right,
and we had some good transition going forward, and Aubameyang was even playing better because he was playing as like the long ball from Luiz, and he would run onto it. Now, because the way we play, Aubameyang can't fire, right? And what I don't get is when you see your strikers aren't firing, why don't you go back to the way you were? You won the FA Cup with that. Why don't you go back? And he doesn't seem to want to go back. It's clear to see we haven't got the midfielders to do this 4-2-3-1, whatever he wants to call it. But we haven't got the cam, for example, clearly. But we haven't. But he doesn't. He still persists with it and does a 3-4-3, even if it means we lose game after game after game. And then to top it off, he picks the same lineup every goddamn time.
Okay.
Very rarely changes it.
Okay,
should I respond or?
So hold on. So Steven, one thing I think Nitesh will point out in this sense is like he doesn't have the players, right? And then the second part is the games that he has pointed out, like so far, Man United. There's definitely signs that he has the tactics and the mental side of things, right? Is he just has to get the man management? Would you agree with that to an extent?
Partly because you can say he might not have the players, but then half of these players he wants to keep. Right, Holding is offered a new contract. David Luiz is offered a new contract. Was going to. He's already said, he wants to keep Xhaka. So some of these players he wants to keep, right, which we know are good enough. We know they're not good enough, but he wants to keep them. And two, when it comes to playing, for Man United example, we all know Ollie's got this mind frame of playing defensively against the big six. That 5-3-2, whatever he wants to call it. If he went to the Emirates, or even maybe not Old Trafford at that time because they were 15th at the time, but when they were second when they came to the Emirates, if he decided to do what they did against Liverpool, which is take us on, we would have been mullered. And if he played Rashford on the left and Greenwood on the right, for example, we would have been mullered. We wouldn't have no answer.
And then I guess, Nitesh, a question for you is, do you think Steven makes a really good point in the fact that there's games it looks like we're getting goals from nowhere. Do you think he has good tactics in the sense that he could have been more creative in those games, or is it? What do you think on that? And how would you respond to Steven?
Before that, I'll just say we can have an hour's debate on Bhargav. We already had one.
Yeah.
That I still think that Thomas Partey should have been more professional in the game against Spurs, and that is what Arteta was trying to do. But we'll get to that in man management.
Okay.
But with respect to the overall thing, if the guy didn't have tactics, I think Ole's tactics backfired against us in that game. We dominated United. The only thing was our finishing was that bad at that point of time that we couldn't get a goal from anywhere. We wasted our chances, and eventually we had to rely on a penalty for a win. But right now, looking at United right now, they're second in the league. Would you take that win? Obviously you would. Whether it comes to a penalty, a mistake which they made because we were attacking. We have to be in their box to earn that penalty in the first place. So that is where we were. And in the other games as well, you must have seen at the start of the season what was the problem. We were only attacking through the wings because we did not have a cam. Our cam was injured. Ozil wasn't going to be played because they wanted him away. They wanted him gone. And the only other cam that we had was a makeshift Lacazette who was falling deep and trying to link up the play. So at the end of it all, we had these options for Arteta. In January, as you saw, he did buy a cam on loan, that is Odegaard, which means that he knew and recognizes the problem. Now the fan base also needs to see that these are some of the problems, that he doesn't have enough players as backup. He tried playing Willian there, it didn't work out. He played Lacazette deep and he then stopped scoring a few goals, but he did score occasionally. So there were a lot of problems. And with respect to the Aubameyang part of things, last season he played one single diagonal ball, not diagonal ball, but a long ball from the top on the left hand side, which Tierney was playing to Aubameyang, and he scored a lot of goals. Teams figured us out this season, so that stopped. That is why Aubameyang was not scoring on the left. Then you got him central, he didn't score again. So a striker can be out of form, and you need to understand that a manager has to use whatever options he has. Lacazette was his option. Eddie didn't work. Balogun is too young. He's not yet ready for the Premier League. And that is how it is.
I guess Relentless is here. What's your opinion on Arteta's tactics?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
you. I have nothing against Arteta, but his tactics, they're very hot and cold sometimes. Like, for example, I'll give you an example where he actually did well. Last season against Wolves, when he brought on Ainsley Maitland-Niles to shut down Adama Traore, and ever since he brought on Ainsley in that game, he completely shut down Adama Traore. He ended up winning the game 2-0. So kudos to him. And he also has a lot of faults, and I think his tactics is one of his downfalls, and I think that's part of the reason why we're 10th. Even though he is very hit or miss with his tactics, because obviously he's always going to be hit and miss because he's a new manager. But for me, his tactics aren't good enough. I think that the fact that he doesn't know his starting 11 is a huge problem. He's been in the job for about a year and some change. I also think that his lack of tactics has also killed off some of my players as well. It's killed off Pepe, killed off Willian, killed off a lot of these players, and I think he doesn't really know what type of football he wants to play. Obviously, if you look at his background, you say, oh, he's Spanish, he's from Barcelona, he came through the academy. Even though he didn't play for Barcelona first, and you think this guy has good football, education, came from a good, in Catalonia, they play really good football. He comes to Arsenal, then all of a sudden he can't implement what he learned. And for me, like that, having a style of play should be the first thing you should know going into a job. It doesn't matter what type of plays you have. You should already have a style of play. He's been here for a year, still ain't got a clue. Like when we see the start lineup, we don't even know whether it's a 3 or whatever, a 4 at the back, because we don't know. And he switches players out of positions. He keeps on. Another thing is his man management. I think is very poor. Just going on tactics, I think his tactics are very, very poor. And in big games against big managers, this is why I always say we're not going to win the Europe. This manager.
Yeah, so
Right here.
we'll get to that side real quickly. Yeah, Steven, go ahead. Do you want to add to that, or like?
Yeah, my only question is that if he hasn't got the players to play these tactics, right? Why not go back to a 3-4-3? If we know we ain't got a Cam, why didn't he play back to a 3-4-3? Why is he trying to go to a 4-2-3-1 and stick with it?
See, we have a Cam now.
Can you put up Lawrence?
Before we got a Cam, or before we started playing Smith Rowe, for example, why did not we just stick with the 3-4-3 that was working in the first place?
Because if you've seen, our defense was sorted out and we were not conceding goals. The only problem that we had was we were not scoring them. That is why we were losing the games. If you go back to a 3-4-3, it becomes way more defensive. And then whatever possibility of creativity we have up front, even that dies away. So that is why he did not try to go back to a 3-4-3, and he never actually wanted to play a 3-4-3. It was just something because he was rushed into the job halfway through the season, last season. He tried and it worked. So he wanted to end that season on a better note. That is what he did. And now I said this at the start of the season. People ask me, where do you think Arsenal will finish? I said between 6th and 10th. The reason they asked me, I said because Arteta is going to try out a lot of formations to see what gets the best out of the players. Till the time the players are gone. Now, if you see, they got rid of 4 to 5 players. Now they are planning to get at least 4 to 5 players, I hope. And that is when things will change around.
That's again, it's like it's like, for example, we were scoring. Hang on, sorry, we were scoring more goals last season with a 3-4-3, right? This season we're trying to be more expansive, yet we're not still scoring goals. This is what I'm saying. Is like if we're scoring more goals, even if we're playing a 3-4-3, sometimes you might not like things, but you're gonna have to do it anyway. Right? It's just adapting and overcoming the situation until you get what you want, which is the players, 4 or 5 players, right? Sometimes you just have to play like the system that best fits the squad you've got. So that's what I'm saying. If Aubameyang was scoring 20-odd goals whilst playing a 3-4-3, why go to a 4-2-3-1? And then if he went to a 4-2-3-1, played it for 4 or 5 games, see that we're not winning, we're not scoring goals, right?
Yeah, Steve,
I'm just saying, if we went back to a 3-4-3, then I wouldn't have had a problem with it. I wouldn't have had a problem because
I'm
I
going
get all time things.
I'm going to come out and switch to my phone real quick. I'm on my laptop. I'm going to switch to my phone.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, it's like, so that's what I'm saying is why do we go, why, so if we tried it for 4 or 5 games and it ain't worked, why then go back to a 3-4-3 knowing that this has already been tested and proven? Because people will come onto us and then we've got a space when Aubameyang behind to run onto, and that's what he did in the FA Cup final. He tore Chelsea a new one.
No, we tried that at the start of the season, Stephen. We tried it. It didn't work out because that tactic was figured out. There were already 2 people marking Aubameyang every time the ball would be played to him. And the other thing is, even Aubameyang's form is responsible for that to be changed. And one more thing. People said, like Relentless said, that Arteta doesn't have a fixed set of tactics. No, his set of tactics was always going to be a 4-3-3. And from there it would evolve, which it has evolved to a 4-2-3-1. Now the thing is, we need the players to either play a 4-3-3 and a 4-2-3-1, which we will be getting in the summer. So we need to be a bit patient because we will be getting in new players now who will be according to Arteta's tactics. And one more thing, I can give you the best example that he doesn't tend to play the players that are not his, which is William Saliba is the best example. At times he feels that this guy is not my player. And even with Balogun, you can say, Guendouzi he feels is not my player. Torreira maybe. So he doesn't. when he thinks that this player is not my player and cannot probably fit into my style of play, even Martinelli to an extent, he will say that I'll be patient. If I don't get another replacement, then I will try to fit that player in. Otherwise, I'll get a replacement.
So why? So you'd rather jeopardize? I don't get it. So you'd rather play someone worse just because someone who we know is better, like Martinelli, right? We'd rather keep him on the sidelines because he's not his player. Yet we know, for example, that Willian's far worse. Like sometimes you might not get on with players, but in the end, like, if he's performing on the pitch, which is what Martinelli's doing, you might just have to go, well, yeah, okay, right, you have to play because Willian's not doing it. Right? When we bought Willian for a free, right, I was expecting him to be a backup in case Martinelli or Saka got absolutely burnt out. Right? I was not expecting him to play every damn week. Right? And when he's not putting performances, again, what I'd rather see is him rather just, even if he doesn't like the player, he might hate the dude, right? Just play him because if it means we win games, right, fans aren't going to get on your back about it, are you? So it's, and you say about getting the right players in the summer, like I said, he's keeping Holding, he's keeping Louise, he's keeping so many players that we know aren't good enough, but he's keeping them. And two, he's already, what I'm saying is that as well, with this board and this owner, do you really expect, knowing they didn't back Wenger, they didn't back Emery, do you really think they are going to back Arteta with all the money to get 4 or 5 players? Because we could have quite easily done that last summer with no financial fair play, but they didn't. They didn't do it at all.
No, but the thing is, just one point. Okay, good.
So like tactics wise, like you guys seem to suggest like both. He's like Relentless said, it's hot and cold. He has okay tactic.
You get games where it works.
I don't think it's not okay. Would you guys say that? Would you guys say it's like? Would you guys say it's elite of the elite or like, just okay, like a work in progress? What do you guys think?
It's definitely a work in progress. It's definitely a work in progress, and it definitely depends on the team we're playing.
It is definitely work in progress because if you see, remember Solskjaer last season, I'll give you an example. He was struggling at the same place, 13-14, got in Bruno, that was signed by him in January, and they went into the top 4. If we get our couple of players or 3 players, I'm not saying even 5. See, and remember one thing, when I say 5 players, 1 or 2 will be at least free transfers or loanies or something like that. It's not going to be all big buys. There will be maybe a couple of big buys, decent buys, and the rest will be, one will be either loanee. There may be a couple of free players as well. So it's going to be a mix and match. It's not going to be all money spent directly. It could be something in parts. Now, the reason Willian got into the team was Pepe got himself sent off when he was given the chance to make an impact. After performing in the Europa League, Pepe was brought into the team. Willian was dropped. Pepe got his chance, big chance to prove himself. What did he do? Gets a red card, sent off. 3 more games, Willian comes back into the team. And then still he has stood by Pepe's side, and now Pepe is performing. Same thing goes with Lacazette. Same thing goes. Martinelli rather went off injured twice. It's happened twice with him. He's looked good, gone off injured twice. So that is why he feels that Martinelli sometimes over pushes himself to get into the team. And it's not as if he's off the sheet. If he can still perform in the Europa League, if he can stay fit, which is the main thing, he will play him. I don't think Arteta has any kind of vendetta against Martinelli. The only problem is his fitness is a major issue.
Well, sorry, he's not even played him in the Europa League. I don't get it. He's not been paid for weeks, and now Willian's got a man of match performance. He's not going to play again. When he made 6 alterations. When he made 6 alterations around, he even made sure he stayed on the bench.
I get that, and we're going to talk about that really soon. Soon. The man management, but on the tactical side of things, if it's all right, and his potential is not that great, it could be. But it's like a risk. Is that really good enough for this club, though?
Not from my opinion, no.
Nitsesh, is that really good enough for the club, like Arsenal, who should be in the top 6?
I didn't guarantee myself when I started this, like when I remember the end of last season. I didn't think that we would be a guaranteed top 6 finisher. I said 6 to 10.
No.
That
I get that
Whoa,
side.
whoa, whoa, whoa,
I get
that's not the
we've always been
that's not the
consistent on
question.
that. But for our history and for our club and where we're and our place in London, tactically is Arteta good enough? That's the question.
See, that is what I'm saying. It is all a game of the table of positions where you end up. If you end up in the top 6 now, I think some of the fan base will get pacified at the end of the season that he finished in the top 6. Don't you think?
No, because I'm not accepting top 6. We should be top 4. We should be finishing top 4. We should be expecting bigger, better things with the amount of money we spend, with the amount of money we earn, and how much we paid for a season ticket. It's one of the expensive in the league, right? How the hell do we pay all this money, and yet we're going to end up 6th to 8th, which means not Europa League, the UEFA Conference League. Now, I'm sorry, I'm going to use this line that I keep saying. Conference in Arsenal has not been heard of since the 1800s, right? A club of our stature should never be in a word called conference at all. No, it should be Champions League football. How the hell can we celebrate a Champions League, a Europa League night like we just got and played San Siro and beat them 5-1 against Inter Milan? I don't get it. Why are we lowering our standards, right? We expect this club should be challenging. It should be challenging with a proper manager, with a proper setup, with the amount of money we pay and the amount of money we spend.
Can I say something really quick? Yeah.
This is why I'm wearing this 98 shirt.
Yeah, last season, yeah. For all you Arteta In fans, yeah. I'm not having to go at you. I'm just saying, for all the Arteta Ins, last season after he won the FA Cup, he made a statement. Arteta was like, 8th in the FA Cup isn't good enough. He said it himself. Yeah, you can go back and check. It's a real. He said 8th place in FA Cup is not good enough. Listen, this manager will not win us anything significant. Yeah, what he's doing is taking the piss out of the fans. Yeah, basically saying, "Oh, trust the process." But in reality, there is no process. What it is, yeah, is they got a young manager, they got a good PR team, and they say, you know what? Let's get us some. This manager's gonna buy us some time because they already know the Arsenal fan base. They're gonna sit there and accept it. So they're like, you know what? They took a look at Man United and they said, you know what? They got a Man United legend, someone who the fans can relate to, someone who they can, have emotional attachment to. And if it was any other manager, he wouldn't have been sacked by now. He would have been sacked, but because it's Arteta and the PR is so hard, he was give him 3 seasons, give him 2 seasons. Oh, the defense is good. It's all nonsense, man. This is all nonsense.
Trust the process has been alongside Arsenal since 2004.
At the start of the season, Manchester United fans wanted Ole out. Look what happened in a few games. So trust me, the process is not just about one transfer window.
I'm sorry, they've got a completely different squad. They've got a completely different
exactly.
This still mean.
Hold on. Just want to address Steven's point. Exactly. If Arteta had Ole's squad right now, he would have also probably been in the top 4. There is your point. That is your exact point.
No, that's not it. Because let me tell you the difference between Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer might be a crap manager, but one thing he's good at is man managing.
Yeah,
that's what I'll say. He's very good at man managing. And to have a squad like that, have him sat second with no style of play. Sorry, even though he's a fraud, he's a very.
To be honest, he can't. No, the reason I say Ollie's where he's at because also he's had 10 years of experience. He might have won only. He might only won
even fans at Molde, even Norwegian fans don't rate Ollie.
The thing is, he's had experience. I don't see why Arsenal are relying on a manager and why we should be expected to train a manager. Why should we be expected to train? We should be getting the biggest name out there. We're Arsenal Football Club.
What do you have to understand?
Biggest country in the world. We should at least have the 3rd biggest manager.
One thing you have to understand is that look at Everton, yeah. Look at Everton. Arteta is more of an Everton legend, and they weren't even stupid enough to they say, you know what, we want to be in Europe, so let's go get a proper manager who's won 3 Champions Leagues. What did we do? We went out and got.
I'll just say this guy is a Plymouth fan, and even he wouldn't accept it at his football club.
But it's nonsense. It's not a real process. It's not a proper process. It's a fake.
Hey, relentless. So you made a good point. You made a good point on Ollie having the man management, right?
We're not trying to absolutely grill you, or anything. But
hold on,
right? We really appreciate you coming on, and we all value your opinion, definitely. Right?
Hold on.
No, it just feels like we're ganging up on him or something, but because there's two of us.
There's supposed to be another Arteta in though. I don't know where he's at.
There's supposed to be sadly he's at work and he couldn't get off work. So, it's not our fault. I'm gonna put it this way. I'm gonna say one more thing. So Ollie does have good management, man management. He's from the Alex Ferguson side of things, where it's pretty much our 11's better than your 11. Go get it done. That's man management. He knows how to manage players, how to tell them, you're not playing this week, but we need you, and he still made him feel part of the squad. Arteta doesn't. We're gonna talk about Arteta's man management today.
I disagree to that, but
what do you think about that?
No, tell me one thing, guys. Okay, you all heard about the David Luiz and Willian saying that we want Arteta gone. Right. They both are playing. Willian last 2 games has played well. At least 2 games, I'll say he has played well, according to the Arsenal fans. Though I could see his off the ball running. But anyways, 2 games he's played well. David Luiz has done enough for us, knowing that he was never a great defender. But as a leader, he has imparted certain qualities into the squad, and he has contributed at times when we needed him. The reason he's playing is because we don't have a better right-footed defender right now than David Luiz. If he had one, he would be playing. He's not Rob Holding.
He's in France.
Hang on. David Luiz has done one thing for us, and that's equal the record of most sent-offs.
His man management.
And plus also David Luiz and Willian. Yeah, they might have wanted Arteta out by all means. Willian, by the way, when he brought him in and he keeps trusting him, he's already stated he wanted to stay at Chelsea, rather than play for his football club. But then again, I'll give it to Arteta. It's not him. It's probably the board. Get a freebie, but. It comes down to a point where you stop looking at the players because we know they're crap when they keep doing it every week. But the manager, why do you keep picking? If you know they're rubbish and you know they want you out, why are you playing them?
Yes,
even if it means you play Pablo Marie and Gabriel, or I don't know, Zach Medley and Gabriel or something. Play the 2 youngest players in the club. Why are you playing people that want you out?
Yeah. Let me explain.
If they wanted him out, then why would they perform for him? That is what I'm saying.
No.
These are just stories that go around.
Let me explain. Let me tell you something about his man management and how it's probably one of the worst in the league. Arteta is one of the worst man managers in the league. I'll give you a couple of examples. Let's start off. Where should I even start? Let's start off with. I don't even know which player to even start off with. There's a couple. Let's start off with let's start off with Saliba. Yeah.
Saliba, yeah.
Don't try and pull one.
No, he has an agenda.
Don't try and pull one.
No, he has an agenda against Saliba. You want to know why? He has an agenda against Matteo Guendouzi. He has an agenda against Pepe. He has an agenda against Lacazette. He has an agenda against what's his name? Balogun. He has an agenda against Balogun. I'll explain why he has an agenda, because he didn't buy William Saliba. So you want to know what he did? He said, you know what? This guy is a 19-year-old. No, he's a 19-year-old defender.
I want to say, can we go one at a time so that I can also respond to it? Just that.
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about Saliba. Okay, Rob Holding. Let's say David Luiz. We all know he's a vocal leader. You all know that. I'll give him that, but he's a very bad centre back. So why did he not give Saliba a chance? And I'll tell you why he didn't give him a chance. Because he doesn't fancy him. He didn't buy him, and he doesn't like him. Yeah, he judged him off of playing 45 minutes against MK Dons. Yeah.
Oh, I'll give him two. He actually 2.5 games to leave. Was it?
Two. I don't know where the other half came from, but that's the
Yeah.
only game he
That's
played
what
in
he said.
the offseason.
2.5 games he judged him on.
So you mean to tell me that you saw a player for 45 minutes and you
So,
already came to the
relentless, I'm just gonna have to. Sorry, I'm gonna have to pause you. By the way, everyone, I should have done this at the start. Everyone, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. Right, do all that. And thanks for tuning in as always. Carry on. Relentless.
All right. Yeah. Are you guys listening?
Yeah. Sorry, I just
Yeah,
had to do
Yes.
that.
Yes.
I just want to hear his response to this. So Saliba played 45 minutes. He completely took him out of the first team for the rest of the season. Saliba is a guy who's lost. I believe he's lost his father and his mother or something like that. He's lost one of
Mother,
his
his
parents.
mother.
I was even hearing talk about even his father's or some. I don't know if that's true or not. But he's taken a guy who he claims to be, have a lot of talent. And he's taken him out the first team, put him in the under 23s, and most of the under 23s are a bunch of English guys from London. They can't relate to William Saliba. Yeah. And you can see that William Saliba has been hung out to dry by this manager for months. And he does not like Arteta, and Arteta does not like him. So you're taking a young player who just came from a new country, who has to acclimatize, who has to get used to the culture, and you throw him into the under 23s. He doesn't know
He
anything.
has to get used to the culture after what he did.
He's not used to the under 23s. He doesn't speak good English yet. You hang him out to dry.
Yeah.
For what? And he's sitting there playing Hector Bellerin, who's a worse footballer, who's probably our worst footballer at the club. Watch him put out stinkers week after week after week.
Oh my
You
God.
cannot tell me he does not have an agenda against some of these players. He has his favorites, and he's a poor man manager. I just want to hear your response to what I just.
Yeah, see, with respect to William Saliba, the guy is 19. And sorry for the disturbance in the background, but yeah, the guy is 19. Arteta wanted him back on loan because he wanted to go back to France when his mother passed away. But the thing is, our club did not get the paperwork done on time, and that is why he was stuck here for 6 months. And Arteta did not want him in the first team because he felt that he needs more time to get settled in. So he wanted him back on loan in France,
Well-
which the player himself wanted. The player is unhappy because that loan deal did not go through. Then they tried to send him to a championship club. Hold on, just let me finish. They tried to send him to a championship club because he should get first team action. And when he comes back, he may be a better player. Did you see the recent game where Saliba gifted a goal away to the opposition? So that is the thing. He's 19. He has like around 15 to 20 years ahead of him still. Not 15 to 15 years approximately. Hold on, just let me finish. Now the thing is, he wanted him gone to France on loan. And what happened is, the club did not get the paperwork done in time and he was stuck with Saliba, whom he did not feel ready yet. And the other thing is, second thing, after in the January transfer window, they sent him back on loan, trying to get him first team action, which he's getting now. The thing is, a 19-year-old's career is not ending at 20. If he comes back next year and our deadwood is gone, there is always a chance that he will easily get into the first team if he comes back and is performing in France again. So that was the thing. Now the thing is, the media has gone ahead and said that William Saliba was sent away because he did not perform in 2.5 games. Saliba himself feels that that is the reason. It's not just that. We needed experience, and Rob Holding, yes, he's slow at times, but his aerial capability is very good, and he has some attributes and experience more than William Saliba right now. We also needed to register a limited number of players. We were over the limit. So he wanted Saliba to go to France, get some experience, and he would have brought him back once the deadwood like Kolasinac, Socrates, Ozil, all these guys were gone from the club, and he needed more players in the squad. So the thing was, he did not register Saliba thinking that he would be gone on loan. He said it, he admitted it before one of the Europa League games that I should have registered Saliba, but I did not know that he would still be here. Now this is the thing. Saliba feels that there is an agenda going against him, but the guy is still 19. If he comes back at 20 and starts playing games regularly for us, his career at Arsenal is not done. Arteta has said that it's not done. So the player needs to be a bit patient. This guy feels that I deserve to be into the first team because the fan base feels that he is that good. But what has he proven so far? That he also has a few mistakes in him.
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
I hear what you're saying.
Let me do this.
No, go on.
I can get you where you're saying, like, with his mum passing away and the fact that loan deal weren't maybe done. I can accept that because maybe, like, I don't know much about that, but I can accept that, right? But the 19-year-old excuse don't really wash with me because, right, we've got Saka who's 19, we've got Martinelli who's 18, and they're performing perfectly well, right? Plus, we know, in people, like, you can go on about, like, holding, and I'm sorry, when I saw Sterling jump freaking holding, right, that just summed it up for me in a nutshell, right? Holding should have been dealing with that by a mile. Sterling should never have been able to get his head on that. Bellerin, for example, right? This guy, how is he not been transformed into a tree hugger or planting trees or something like that? I don't know. How is he a footballer? I have not got a clue. This is a guy who's also said to us, right, winning isn't everything, right? Or we shouldn't make money from failure. Well, you make money from failure every damn week when you don't perform, right? This is a guy who's quite happily to sit and worry about his fashion, worry about us getting back to the top. Simple as that. So why did we decide we are keeping Bellerin? We're not taking the offer from from PSG, right? We're deciding to keep him, right? 20 million. That is daylight robbery. Right, of us nicking 20 million from PSG, right? Because he's not worth that at all. He's not even worth 50p, right? So when he played Cedric and Tierney, I think it was the last game, right? That's what I wanted to see, right? If Tierney's in there, if Tierney's not available, put Saka at left back. That's how bad he is. That's how bad Bellerin is, right? I'd rather put Saka on the left, put Pepe on the right, and put Martinelli or Willian or wherever you bloody fancies, right, on the left. And do that guy Bellerin. Oh my god! I'm trying not to lose it because this guy winds me up so much.
Yes, Stephen.
All right.
This guy
Let Nitesh respond to that.
Talent level as I've got.
Let Nitesh respond to that.
Steven, just one thing. When Cedric and Tierney both were fit, Bellerin is on the bench. Then look at Tierney's fitness problems. But do you think anyone will want Tierney and Cedric, that combination, to change when both of them are fit? No, they won't. The problem is either Cedric has injury problems or he was not playing well initially and Tierney then got injured. Then Cedric came in and filled in as left back. Saka cannot be played as left back because he is our most creative player right now. If you start playing, there were games where Saka was played as a left back only for a few minutes, like maybe 10-15 minutes, when he made substitutions. The fan base went mad. Why is our best creative player being played as a left back? So that is not going to happen anymore. Ainsley did not want to play as a defender, as a left full back. That is why he did not go to, I think it was Southampton who wanted him or another club. Yeah, Southampton. Southampton wanted him to play as a right back.
Ainsley went on loan.
He went to West Brom.
Hang on, let him finish.
Southampton wanted him to play as a right back. He went to West Brom, who wanted him to play as a midfielder. So Ainsley has made it clear, I don't want to play as a defender anymore. I am done with that. That is why he is not there. Bellerin is world class. No one says that. He is not good at defending. But going forward, yes, he is good. I will say that again. He created that.
He's not.
No,
I'm sorry. I could cross the road better. I'm sorry.
He can't cross the T, bro.
All right, so I'll put it this way: like with regard to Arteta, one thing I want you guys to talk about is his emotional temperance, and you guys touched on it. He's pretty emotional with his decisions with Saliba with 45 minutes. Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off, but can I just say one quick thing before we move on to the next subject? You mentioned, he's 19, he's not ready. Okay, cool. Let's talk about that idiot of a goalkeeper that we bought for 1 million, who has butterfingers. Let's talk about him. He's not even. Butterson. He's not even a championship level goalkeeper. but he's ready to get
No,
game
wait,
time.
he's an international level in North Iceland, apparently.
Bro, he's not even first choice for Iceland. Yeah, and he's fit and ready enough to play for Arsenal, but William Saliba is not good enough. How does that make sense?
Did we have an option at that point? Did we have an option at that point? Either it was Leno, who was playing every game, or he wanted to try out the second choice goalkeeper in a League Cup game. When Runners messed up, they got another backup keeper in January, which is Matt Ryan.
No, because we had multiple.
I want to move on to the last
times.
topic actually, because Relentless brings up a good point. Is Nitsesh, let me start with you on this. What do you consider as who do you consider as Arteta's signings? Because then, if we analyze how
Arteta
they have
has made a lot of signings.
then we can actually better answer the question. Who do you consider? Who do you consider as Arteta's signings?
By the way, everyone keep hitting the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. It's a good debate this is. Big up to you, Nitsesh, because you're doing this on your own. Over two of us, and big up to you, and you're making really good points. So go on, mate. Right, so fair play to you.
See, if Bellerin, if people say that Arteta only plays the signings, then why is Bellerin playing? Why is Granit Xhaka playing? Why is maybe Elneny playing? Why are some of these other players playing? Lacazette playing? Aubameyang playing? See, the thing is, Arteta is trying to mix and match with the right combination that he can find to win games. If the manager himself said at the end of last season, 8th place and FA Cup is not good enough, so that means he understands that he wants better. But these players are also very inconsistent. We need to understand that. Another thing is, if Tierney was fit right through the season, at Celtic, I think he had around 25 to 30% games that he missed every season. So Tierney needs a backup. And who was the backup? Kolasinac. Do you think Kolasinac is a good enough backup? No. That is why they let him go. And they said that we'll probably rely on Cedric either playing as a left back or a right back or fitting in and doing the job. Now the thing is, with respect to Bellerin, I'll say this again. Bellerin is crap when defending. He can't defend. But while pushing forward, he has the pace, which is limited pace now, not as fast as he was before, and the capability to trouble defenses. But what happens is, when you play the tactics that Arteta was playing initially, your midfielder, who is the defensive midfielder, is supposed to slot into that right back like Xhaka does at left back. And Bellerin will push forward and he will be caught a lot of times out of position. One of the reasons why Cedric is termed as a better defender is because he doesn't push forward that often and he doesn't get caught out of position because of the same. If you compare to the...
ads, I'd love to, but we're trying to keep this as an Arsenal fan debate, mate. If you could make your point in the chat, that'd be most grateful. But yeah, carry on. If we get a chance at the end, then maybe.
If you remember, Stephen, we had one point of time Callum Chambers as the backup right back, but the problem was he only used to defend. His forward play was very poor. No one liked it. People thought that this guy is playing like a centre back at a right back position. Now the thing with Bellerin is he plays like a wing back. He can't defend. All he can do is push forward with the ball. So Bellerin is like, you can say, another example that you can link to him is like a Marcos Alonso, who can just attack but can't defend. Now the problem is he's our backup.
I know the problem is Tish. The problem is that when we attack with Bellerin, there's a big problem, and the second goal at Tottenham shows it why. This guy will just go.
You want to discuss that game? Let's discuss that game. No. You want to discuss that?
Someone's already gone down the wing and scored.
The thing is,
the guy was still standing at the halfway line when Son put the ball in the back of the net. Though he was supposed to be tracking him. Like the guy was like that. He literally just watched him run.
The first goal. That was the first goal, not the second one.
Oh,
the second
one was
Thomas
Partey's. You know what I mean?
He could have put in a tackle. He should have put in a tackle. I said that. But the second goal was Thomas Partey's fault. And I am saying this again. If you want to have a discussion, I'll tell you why. If he was injured, he should have gone down on the pitch. The play would have stopped because Bellerin was counter-attacking. He played in the ball for Aubameyang, which was behind the striker. Spurs got the ball. It was Thomas Partey who was filling in that slot where Son was running from, and he just walked up the pitch. If the player goes down, the play stops then and there. Because the player is injured, he needs treatment.
Yeah, but that's if Tottenham got the ball. Hang on. by the time he started walking off the pitch, Tottenham had the ball, and if Tottenham had the ball, right, it wouldn't have mattered if he went on the floor because they would have still continued to play.
No,
They don't
Tottenham had the ball.
have to put it out. They can still continue with play. So that's I don't get that.
Tottenham had the ball in their box at that point of time. If the player went down, they would have probably stopped. Not after the point where the attack was already in flow. Then they won't stop. Are you okay?
Whose fault was that?
Which part? Bellerin was pushing forward to attack.
It was Arteta. It's Arteta's fault. You wanna know why?
Why is that Arteta's fault?
No. Let me tell you why. Because Partey was never fit enough for that game, and we all knew that. He was never fit enough to play that game. He looked off the pace.
How was he not fit enough? No, he went through 3 medical tests. The medical team cleared him to play that game. There was clear. No. It was mentioned. He went through 3 medical tests.
When he was hobbling off the pitch, guess who pushed him back onto the pitch so he can get hurt even more? Guess who pushed him?
No, he did not push him for that because a professional player goes down on the pitch and the play is stopped when the ball was there in the box. But you don't walk off the pitch. That is unprofessional. No one points that out. That Thomas Partey walking off the pitch when the play is on is unprofessional. He should have gone down on the pitch and they would have stopped the game.
They wouldn't have stopped the game because Tottenham had the ball. Tottenham had the ball. They
had the ball in their own box.
Yeah, but they wouldn't have stopped the game. There's so many times where players have gone down and they've not stopped the ball if the opposition have got it. It's not down to them to put the ball out. It's down to you to put the ball out. Right? They can continue to play and score a goal. It's not a problem with them. Right? It may be the moral thing to do, but it's not a written law. They don't have to do it.
No, I get that. But what
you were saying.
Go on. No, I was just saying that when Spurs got the ball, Thomas.
I think we get stuck on this point.
But that's like before we go way off the deep end on that topic.
Yeah.
But there's other parts to man management, right? It is playing the players at the right time. The biggest one of the big issues was the handling of Pepe and Xhaka's red cards. That was very different.
I've got another one. I've got a big one. It's really.
I mean, there's
can I just say one? Can I just say one that really, really angers me and really makes me pissed off with Arteta, right? Willian, right? This guy decides I'm gonna piss off to Dubai. Fuck COVID. I'm gonna piss off to Dubai and do whatever. When he comes back, he's on the next score. He's on the next team sheet. Aubameyang does whatever he does whatever with COVID and ends up isolated or whatever. When he comes back, he again straight in the team, knowing he's broken COVID rules. These 2 players have broken COVID rules. Now I've already had my peace with them too, right? Because they're out of order, right? But as a manager, I would if it was me, they would have been in my office and said, right, you lot are going to get docked 2 of your wages because 14 days you're going to have to quarantine, right? You're not coming back in the starting lineup. I don't care if we have to lose the next games. You're going to be made an example of. He came out at the first ever press conference and said, we are going to start laying down the ground rules, right? He's going to start giving them a clean slate and lay down the ground rules. Now he is letting people go off with COVID and come back and play the next game, right? Guendouzi, for example, right, does whatever on the pitch which was wrong, right? The way his attitude was, right? But one thing I did say from that game, it was one guy who actually cared about winning, right? And he gets bumped and straight out the team on loan and everything like that. Why is it that Willian and Aubameyang get 3 passes to do whatever they like with COVID, which really pisses me off because I'm a vulnerable person, right? I've only just had my vaccine, right? And I have to spend all my time isolated because pricks like that decided, right, to break the rules and cause more problems, right? So why isn't it my manager is going, no, you're out of order. Look what there's fans who are vulnerable or elderly and they have to isolate because you decide to do stupid things that you're getting docked your wages, right? And if they didn't like it, boom. That's what Ferguson did with Nestorway. Boom, out the door. Right?
Yeah, but Arteta can't do
Yeah,
that.
can I-
Nobody's-
One thing though.
You didn't mess with Fergie, because if you did mess with Fergie, he'd screw you over. He'd put you on the list. That was in it. He would throw you out the door.
Nobody's scared of
It
Arteta.
has been hot
His
and
name
cold.
doesn't hold any weight in football.
It has been hot and cold. It has been hot and cold in some ways because people also would like to say that he binned off Ozil. He put Guendouzi
Ozil
in his
should've
place, who's a
No,
kid. Which
no, Bargav.
hold on.
You're not saying his due here. That was the board. That was not.
Yeah,
That was
okay,
the board
that was the
losing
board,
money
okay.
and trying to
See,
That's
Ozil
not-
should've
it's not
gone
to do
anyway.
with
He
that.
should've
See,
gone
Steven,
early.
I feel like
that.
is it George? It's George Best, right? Who was the Arsenal coach?
Oh, you have to mention him, seriously.
Do I have to?
Do you really? Go on.
For him being like the coach that he took you like a proper manager. In that sense. In that sense.
You mean the
Nitsesh, I
player?
feel like-
No, George Best is the player that decided to have two
not George
transplants.
Best. Who was the I forget. Who's the manager that
Ferguson.
took like no in
Ferguson.
Arsenal before?
Arsenal. Oh, Herbert Chapman.
George Best?
Yeah, my bad.
No, okay.
Chapman.
So in that sense, like he's not.
Wenger.
So
But
in that
George
sense,
Best,
like
if you mess with him, you're out the door.
yeah, that's what I
David
mean. You
Dean
don't play
must
for
be
6
out.
weeks. I think somebody made that point yesterday.
That's when Arsenal had that big club mentality, right? And where players knew their position and didn't act like they're bigger than the club, and even than the manager, right? And if you did, you were out the door.
You're out. And so
Can I just revert to
I guess you.
So
just
first thing
respond to
is-
that part where what Steven just said about like it doesn't feel like he has control over the locker room in some ways.
No, with respect to Guendouzi, he had a fight in Dubai first. He was given a warning. He had that second incident with Mope, which they talked about again. The management, including Edu, asked him only to apologize. He did not. And the manager and he had differences from before because of what he did in Dubai. And it happened again. So that is why Arteta said, I'm sending him off on loan. He's not been sold. You need to remember that. He's been sent off on loan. Again, everyone feels that if a player is out on loan, his career at Arsenal is done. It doesn't work that way. Guendouzi was overplayed.
Guendouzi's coming back, to be honest. Let's be honest.
Let's see what happens with respect to that. But what I'm saying is he was given one warning, and the second time when he did it, he was just asked to apologize for what he did, because he said something that was highlighted by the media again, like I earn more than you or whatever. Even though he said it in the heat of the moment, he was just asked to apologize. He did not do that. Again, after that, he had some fight and he was sent away on loan. Now the thing is, with respect to Willian, Arteta came out and said that the club will deal with it. But Willian had gone to Dubai, one, which is a place which is not known for its COVID. Second thing, it was confirmed that he had followed all the protocols that were needed for him to come back without being infected and being safe. It was confirmed by the club and he was played then. With respect to Aubameyang, he again took permission from the club and the management and the manager to go meet his sick mother. Again, if he follows the protocols, if he goes to a country where the protocols are followed, he spends 14 days in isolation and whatever, everything is according to protocol, and he comes back to England without any problems. Maybe he traveled in a private jet, who knows? If there was such an issue, it would have been highlighted by the media. The media would have gone bonkers that Aubameyang went and came back and he is not isolated. Remember the Tierney incident where one of his teammates from I think Scotland was tested positive. Tierney was a doubt as well, but Tierney was not in direct contact with the player, and that is why he was able to be on the team sheet. Again, see, the thing is, the club handles all these issues. It's not directly the manager who does those things. And if there is someone to be blamed or fined or maybe dropped from the squad, the club will inform the manager and that will be done. Was Willian part of the starting lineup when he came back into the squad? No, he was on the bench for that game. But at the end of it all, if he had followed the protocol, he was on the bench for the first game that he came back.
I think he did
No,
start.
I would have just left him on the team and said, don't come to training and we don't know if you're infectious or not.
Yeah, but
So he tested
that's the
himself. He
problem.
got himself tested. And he came negative.
Yeah, but one thing, I understand what you're saying.
One
but
thing I
what is
would
that-
say
what
is I
message-
would at least say even if you did follow the protocols, right, I would at least expect my manager to say, look, we do not recommend they do this, right? We do not stand for it, right? We do not expect our players to be doing this, right? And make a stand and say, you do this, then we are going to take serious action, right? So be warned.
He said the club will deal with it. No, he said the club will deal with it. That means the club was looking into the incident, and if they would have found him guilty or breaking certain protocols, he would have been dropped. Willian was never into the first team at that point of time. Pepe was the one who was being picked. So he was on the bench as it is. So him being dropped for a game or two would have not been a problem. But the thing was, if he did follow the protocols and he proved that he was tested negative.
When was this again?
It was like around 4 to 5 months ago.
4 or 5 months ago. What was it? March,
yes.
February, January.
No, it was last year.
Can I just say something really quick? I haven't spoken in a while.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, let's go on.
So when you said Willian wasn't starting, Willian started the first He started the first game, the second game, the third game. He's basically our starting right winger for the start of the season.
At the start,
he went to Dubai. He went to Sobe's restaurant. Yeah, he went to Sobe's restaurant in Dubai, I believe. Took a picture with him. No mask, no nothing. Throwing up signs and whatnot. Came back. I believe he actually started the next game. I think he actually started the next game. He wasn't dropped, because if he was dropped,
he wasn't training. He wasn't training, but he was on the bench for the first game, and then he got back into the team. I think he was brought on as a substitute. Yeah, I'm not denying that, but it all depends on just one point. It all depends on the fact whether he broke the protocols or not. And in Dubai, the cases were very low at that point of time. COVID was fading away. Then it had a relapse later on. So if the club didn't find him guilty of anything, if anything would have happened, like if he was infected and the players would have been infected, it would have been a huge outbreak. Like, how did they allow him? Sorry about that. Sorry for interrupting you.
I mean, I guess I guess somebody was saying with regard to that incident, to be fair, that it was planned ahead of time, and it was part of Arsenal was part of the planning of that. I read that, and then the second thing is he did take private planes. I'm not the Alba one is way more out there, and that's a discussion. Let's not even talk. Honestly, that's way more out there with the tattoo.
And let's have a chat about that Pepe and Granit Xhaka.
The Pepe what?
We all know Arteta has his favorites, and Granit Xhaka is a part of his favorites. Yeah. So when he yoked up that guy from Burnley, what did Arteta say in his press conference? He didn't hang him out to dry. He just said, "Oh, he's showing what is he showing passion?" So grabbing a guy by his neck, he grabbing a guy by his neck is showing passion. But when Pepe headbutts someone very softly in the head and goes down, he disappointed the team. That tells me that you don't like Pepe because you did not buy Pepe. Yeah, Arteta couldn't care less about Pepe. Yeah, and even though he spent 72 million, he'd rather play Willian, who's washed up and 32 years old, than play someone who spent 72 million on. He has favorites. He has favorites. His Mateo Guendouzi is not his favorite. Saliba is not his favorite. And the favorites he has are not good enough for this football club, and that's why he's 10th. He will pay for all these plays. All these plays he's paying. All these dead plays that he keeps on re-signing and he's not getting rid of. They will all be his downfall at this football. I'm telling you, they will all be his downfall.
Hey, Relentless and Steven, I have one thing to say to balance this thing out. One thing is he definitely has a lot of incidents like that, right? Where they're very man management problems, and a part of it may be due to his emotional temperance. And he'll lose a lot of locker rooms that way. I do agree with that. But at what point do you say, we had a restructuring this year of the board, right?
Your point is pointless because most of the teams are playing most of the teams that win the World Cups, their players play in the fucking Premier League.
Yeah.
So your point is pointless.
No, the question I have for you guys is we have a restructuring of our board this year, right? At the beginning, somebody was talking about Edu was doing the job for 2 people that should have been there.
Edu's another fraud
he's a big part in the mess that we're in.
Can I just say one thing? Can I just say one thing before we go into that? Relentless, if you heard the entire statement of Arteta post the Granit Xhaka red card, he said that he was showing passion. After that, he said it was worse than the Pepe one.
And what happened to Granit Xhaka? As soon as he got rid of that red card, what happened to him? He came right back into the starting 11.
And what happened to Pepe? He also came back into the team.
Into
That
the
was
team,
out of
but not the
convenience, though.
starting
That was
11.
more out of convenience
Right, hang on, next point.
at the time.
Because
But
that could go around in circles again.
no, so big question is like, how much does the board have to put? Like, do you have to like look at the board situation and be like, Arteta's partially exonerated by that by the situation with our board?
Right. My position is, right, you can't blame Arteta for taking the job, right? I would have taken the job. I would have even done it for free, right? But maybe you could say if he really loved the club, he shouldn't have done because he weren't experienced enough. But there you go. The board, right? We know what the board are like, right? As long as, even if it makes you away for Conference League, even as long as they find a way to make more money or profit or any profit, right? Because even if we finish 11th, the season ticket prices will go up. You watch, right? They don't care. They don't care, right? This is why I say when people say, "Oh, give Arteta time with his transfer window," they get 4 or 5 players. You're also saying the board don't bloody care. So how the hell do you expect him, right, to be backed by the board, right? If the board doesn't care anyway, all they care about is making Stan Kroenke's millions, right?
But
We all know this. If they really understand, this is not like the world of David Dean, right? Where if it was we needed a player like Ian Wright or Thierry Henry or Perez or Lundberg, you go out and get the deal done, right? Done deal, right? This board are now more worried about how much they make. They put Tom's Partey as a last minute buy to say, look, we saved the transfer window. Look, let's get excited, right? This board are a bunch of wankers, all of them. All of them. They have lowered this club's standards to this, right? To the fact that we should accept mediocrity and the fact we should be accepting the fact that we are worse than Chelsea, worse than Man United, worse than Man City, worse than Liverpool, worse than Tottenham, worse than Leicester, worse than Everton, worse than Wolves, right? Worse than Leeds, right? Do you want me to keep going, right? To the point that we are struggling to even next season. By the way, people say we need to be. I'm sorry. Just if we're going to have to be challenging towards getting back to where we don't need European football next season. Well, clock this. If we finish 8th or 10th, we get you away for Conference League next season because that's coming in, right? So we need to finish actually not where we are 9th. We need to finish 11th. So actually, we need to lose a couple of games, right? If we actually want to keep with this process. So they have lowered our standards to the point that we should just accept being in 11th or try and scrape through against Benfica in the round of 32, right? Because we're out of everything else, right? And then celebrate it like we've won the World Cup. I'm sorry, that's not my standards, right? That's not my standards.
But the point is when people look at that situation, then people will say, you can't put it all on Arteta.
The board are ones that hang on, but the board are a lot of the blame, right? They are a lot of the blame, right? Arteta, when it comes to Arteta, I blame him for the what happens on the pitch and what happens with his man management, right? And the players he wants, because obviously he has a decision in the players he wants. He decides that what they do, right? If he decides he wants to keep Holding and Luiz, I'm going to call him out. If he wants to keep Xhaka, I'm going to call him out. If he decides I want to get Odegaard on loan but still have the problem because it's only training Real Madrid, right? You could also call the board out. You can also call Arteta out for agreeing with that thing. But I'm sorry, with this board, they are happy. They were happy when we were 16th. We looked like we were going to get relegated at one point because it did look like we were going to win any game in sight. And by the way, when we did pick up form, we only picked up form against teams like West Brom, who were in the relegation zone, Fulham in the relegation zone, right? We played Brighton fighting for relegation, Newcastle fighting for relegation. Right? You get my gist, right? So this is why I'm saying that this board were happy to sit with this manager when we were 16th. 16th.
And I'll just
Go ahead.
Stephen, with respect to the Thomas Partey deal, it was always going to happen. They were first trying to get OR, then they wanted to trigger the Partey deal.
But they used it as a PR stunt to say, look, we saved the transfer window.
No.
Everyone got mad because we got Partey, when actually you only got really Gabriel, Willian and Partey. We didn't really get the
wanted.
we need.
Let me tell you one thing about the Willian deal. It was either Willian or Coutinho who Barca wanted 8 million a year on loan for. They went for the Premier League proven one who was coming on free, who took a pay cut to come to Arsenal. If it worked, it was great. If it didn't work, they would probably try to sell him off. That was the thing. He wanted to stay in London. He did not want a 2-year deal with Chelsea. He wanted a 3-year deal. The thing is that only now he's trying to play better football because he's actually linking up with the play. He's understood what his strengths are and he can't play as a winger anymore. That is a fact. He's lost his pace. He's lost his pace.
No.
I'm sorry, how can you... Coutinho, like, it shows exactly why. Because they weren't willing to spend £8 million on a better Coutinho who's better than Willian. I'm sorry, Coutinho's miles better than him.
And let me just...
They weren't prepared to spend £8 million. So why are we expecting him to be back in Arteta next season?
Let me
I don't get why people think they're going to come and save us by giving Arteta loads of money. They've never done this. Even when they bought Pepe, they bought him for £24 million instalments every year. We're still paying next season.
That was Raul.
But still, it's still they're not prepared to go 200 million here, Arteta. Go do what you want.
Where will that money come from? Josh Kroenke spent. Josh Kroenke spent money from his pocket to get Thomas Partey, which was anyways I feel going to happen. The only thing was they were trying to trick Lyon into believing that they didn't have money and give us OR as well. Because a creative midfielder was the need of the day, but the Lyon president, as you know how he is, that was one of the major problems. And the thing is, if we would have signed both, one thing. Let's go through all the signings that we had. We had Gabriel, who's a good defender. He's a long-term prospect. We have a good defender there. We have Thomas Partey, who's a good midfielder. He can at least have 5 years in him. Okay. Apart from that, you got Willian, who would either be a miss or a hit. He was a miss from the start of the season till now. But now, if he can turn it around, he can be a hit. We got Danny Ceballos, who looked good. Hold on, let me just finish off. Danny Ceballos, who looked good at the end of last season. And any Arsenal fan would say, probably give him another chance. But we did not buy him. We took him on loan again, which is again smart. If you would have bought him, you would have been repeating. No, so now we can cancel his loan at the end of the season. That is the thing.
If you're accepting Danny Ceballos is any good, then I'm sorry. If we're accepting that this Danny Ceballos is any good, then we're screwed.
Can I
ask him a question?
We're not. It's just a loan. Unless we buy Danny Ceballos on a permanent deal, we're not screwed because it's just a loan deal which can be done.
I don't want him.
Yeah, so we can rather go for Odegaard. Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Look.
Relentless wanted to add something.
Can I ask a question? Would you say Arteta has been backed this summer?
Was that for me? Sorry.
Yeah, would you say he's been backed?
Yes, to an extent he has been backed, but he has a lot of deadwood to get rid of still, which needs to be done in this summer window.
Here's the problem. He has been backed. He's got Gabriel. He's got a new backup goalkeeper. He's got one of the best holding DMs, top 5 in the world. He's got he still has Aubameyang who re-signed, still has Saka who re-signed, still has Gabriel Martinelli who re-signed. He has one of the best 19-year-olds in the world in Bukayo Saka. He has he's gotten players who he doesn't like and players he has an agenda against. He's got them out on loan, so he doesn't have to deal with them for a year. He's got
it's not an agenda. Go ahead.
No. He didn't. He didn't want.
Let me finish. Let me finish.
He didn't want Matej Guendouzi, so he got rid of him for a year. He didn't want Saliba, so he got rid of him for a year. He didn't want these players. Yeah. So the players that the Arteta, the Deadwood players that you talk about, he's trying to resign on new contracts. The Deadwood players
Which
that you're
Deadwood
talking
player?
about, the Deadwood
Hang on, let him
players that,
finish.
the Deadwood players
No, I'm
that
asking
you
which
are
Deadwood
talking
player.
about is the players that he wants to resign on new contracts. He wants to sign David Luiz on new contract. He wants to
He's
sign.
not
He
Deadwood.
probably that no.
Let
Yes,
him
yes, he is.
finish.
He is. He is. Trust me, David Luiz is one of the worst defenders I've ever seen.
Just finish your point.
He wants to sign. He already signed Rob Holding, who's probably not good enough. Even though I like Rob Holding, he's not good enough for this football. He wants to sign Hector Bellerin on a new contract. He doesn't want him to leave. He wants Granit Xhaka to resign. All these Deadwood players you're talking about, he wants them to stay. So where are we really gonna go as a football club?
Now
So you
I
just say yes
will
and then
answer
that.
you. Sorry,
He wants to keep
sorry.
the
Go ahead.
Deadwood. I just gave you examples.
No,
I'll give you the response to that. Hold on one second.
Fine.
All right. So one thing I will say.
Hang on, he's just going to give the response. He was giving the response.
Already 5 players. You need to get 5 more in. But that does not mean you let go of your squad players. If Granit Xhaka is not good enough to start, according to us, because I also feel he's not good enough to play for Arsenal. But if he's getting rid of 5 players already,
he can't get rid of 10 players and just sign 5 with no squad players left. And the other thing is, with respect to David Luiz may not be playing every game week in and week out. But as a squad player, David Luiz, yes, he brings something to the squad. He does. In terms of his leadership, he's not, yes, he's always going to have that mistake in him. So did Mustafi. He got rid of Mustafi. And he has retained David Luiz, who can possibly be a good backup player. Now, with respect to Xhaka, again, the same thing. He may get rid of El Neni this window if he is able to get another backup player, or maybe Callum Chambers is fit. If you remember, Callum Chambers, sorry, was Fulham's player of the season, but he was injured till mid-season. Now with Callum Chambers, if he's good enough, either he will keep him in the squad or either sell him. The other thing now, with respect to other players, if you say that David Luiz is a total waste, I don't agree. David Luiz has done things for Arsenal apart from his defending. Last season he gave away 3 to 4 penalties. I agree to that. But this season he has contributed. Even in the FA Cup final, he put in a decent performance, which helped us win the FA Cup final. People like to troll David Luiz a lot because he's not the best defender in the league. But does he do a job for us? Yes, he does. You need to also compare
Would you resign him to a new contract?
1 year deal. Why would I not? He's a backup defender. He's not my first choice. If I have William Saliba coming back in and becoming the first choice, and Rob Holding being there, if I need David Luiz as part of my tactics, I would keep him. It's just a 1 year deal. It's not going to be like a 3 year or a 4 year deal for any player. With respect to Willian again, I said this at the start of the season. He's coming to us on a pay cut and a free transfer. If we don't like what we see, there is always an option of offloading him. Clubs in Germany wanted him because they feel, even in Italy. Willian. I'm giving an example of Willian.
Nobody wanted Willian.
No, Willian will do better in a slow league.
He wanted to stay
Yes,
in London, and Arsenal was stupid enough to give him.
Nitsesh, let's be honest, mate,
Yeah.
right? He's constantly playing him when we know players are better. So, right, I'm sorry, he's keeping him. He's keeping him. He's not getting rid of him. He's not.
Willian should be playing in Brazil or something.
It doesn't show that if he was getting rid of him, he would not want to be trying to play him every damn week.
Guys, if Pepe and Martinelli can stay fit and perform better than Willian week in and week out, Willian will be on the bench for the rest of the season. Trust me on that. But the problem is,
he won't be on the bench. He'll play over Pepe because he doesn't fancy Pepe, so he will play Willian. Even though
no, he's been playing Pepe now. Pepe is performing. He's been playing Pepe week in and week out. Pepe is playing every week.
Pepe is being dropped every other week. Every other week, he's being dropped.
When Pepe is performing, no, he's not been dropped.
Yes, he has. Pepe scored 3 goals in 3 games. Scored 3 goals in 3 games, so he's dropped for the next 2 or 3 games. Every time he scores, he gets dropped by this manager.
No, the only reason Pepe was only out because he got a red card and he was
No,
suspended for
bro.
3 games.
No, bro. Even last season, Pepe scored against Brighton. Where was he? Where was he? Next game on the bench. He scored against Southampton. Where was he the next game? On the bench. He scored next game. He might not even start next game. 2 Europa League games. He was benched for both of them. Both of
See, there is a difference. If you are a Premier League starter and you are benched for a Europa League game, that means you're getting a certain amount of rest. Not for the Premier League.
Bro, he was dropped for both games. He was dropped for the Premier League game and the Europa League game. He was dropped early in the season. And he was
I don't agree.
He was playing well on the left. He was unpredictable on the left. Guess where he puts him? He drops him, then puts him on the right. The killer's
What's the date? Hang on, what's the date of this? So 1st of March.
No, I agree with the fact that Pepe has been dropped, but not when he's performing. He has only been dropped when he's looked out of sorts. And if you're scoring in the Europa League game, Eddie Nketiah and Joe Willock were playing well in the Europa League as well. But they were not Premier League level. Pepe was playing well in the Europa League, but when he came to the Premier League, he got a red card and he got himself sent off for 3 game suspension. And that is the only time he was dropped. And that was one of the reasons why Willian got back into the team. If Pepe is firing like he's right now, Willian will not get into the team unless on the left-hand side when Saka is rested. Our best lineup, even Arteta knows that Saka, maybe Aubameyang or Lacazette and Pepe is our best lineup when they are all playing and performing.
Okay, can I give you an example?
Go, Steven. Go, Steven.
It's how quickly after I'm just reading this. I'm just reading this about everybody has raised level certain weeks. Christmas, lack of this feels in the good pepper. I'm trying to reveal why he's dropping Martinelli. It's trick
because he likes William better. He's giving William game time over Martinelli.
He hasn't confirmed
his career.
He's not at any point stated that Martinelli's never not fully fit.
Because Martinelli wasn't his signing, and he has his favorites.
It's not. This thing about like Martinelli needs to be careful to run the bottom wall. If that was the case, why come and say it? This is what I don't get. Right? This is the thing. If your player is not fully fit, right, then say so, because we can't blame you for it, can we?
Steven, he was fit. He was fit and he started the games and he got injured in those games.
Yes,
do you remember?
When he comes back, I remember. But what I'm saying is, when he comes back from injury and he's having little niggles and everything like that, and he's having to miss games, one as an Arteta saying we have to be careful with him at the minute. He's not.
He did.
He's not.
You remember
various sources. He's not come out and
said. You remember there was a game.
Play him.
You remember there was a game recently. I don't remember which one. Martinelli got substituted at halftime and Willian came on. Everyone thought that this is maybe a tactical thing or Arteta likes Willian and whatever reason. At the end of the game, we realized that Martinelli had picked up another knee niggle and he was taken off because of that knee injury that he picked up. Martinelli is overzealous and he wants to play a lot of games. He doesn't like to be on the bench. He doesn't like to be dropped. Even if he's 50%, he will want to play. And that is where his problem is. I have seen Martinelli play in a game which was already dead. We were like leading 3-1 or 4-1. And he was running up and down that left-hand flank, though we had already won the game and it was like 5 to 10 minutes left of the game. So Martinelli is a youngster who does it at times.
Guys, let me talk real quick. So far, we made a lot of good points today, and we're coming to that like 1.5 hour mark. 2 things I want to say is like, I'll leave you with one question and one statement. On Nitesh's channel,
before you say, everyone like, subscribe, share it, right? Let's get people involved. And Football Capo, big up to you as always. I'm doing okay, and hopefully we'll get Lee on this channel on Friday as usual, as we planned. Go on.
All right, so I want to leave you guys with 2 things. One is on Nitsesh, on your channel, I think one day we should do the stats analysis on Arteta just to see where the team's gone over the year. And I think we should do that on your channel as a return. Thanks for coming on, by the way, and you kind of debated this by yourself with your partner.
Yeah.
For sure, you
Big
could
up.
have come on.
I can do this for all night long, but my battery won't support me for that.
Yeah, no. The second thing is like.
No, the
Before
thing
we
is,
go today,
Nitsesh,
I want you guys to rate like
you don't try and twist it or try and get
Arteta's
people to change their opinion and that. So big up to you.
No. Like I want you guys to like rate Arteta's man management and tactics on a scale of 0 to 5 or 0 to 10,
God.
and then we'll leave it there. Starting who wants to go first?
I'll go
Let
first.
Nitsesh go.
I'll go first because I'll probably not be able to get a word in after that. But so basically, I'm gonna make one last statement on Arteta, and I'm gonna give him a rating. I'm gonna give him a rating on his man management and just
Final
his
verdict.
whole time at Arsenal in general. If I was to rate him at man management out of 10, I'll rate him a 4 or a 3. And if I was supposed to rate him in general, since he's been here, I'll give him a 3 as well. I think he's a poor manager. And my final statement on him is at the end of the season, whether we finish 10th or 8th or whatever, I don't care. He needs to go immediately. He needs to go because he does not keep up the value and tradition of this football club. Every single day he stays here, we're getting sent back another month. He has not brought through one youngster. Not one youngster through the tail end. Not one. He's been here for a year and some months. He has not brought through one single youngster. So how are we moving forward? How is this a process? Yeah, we're supposed to be bringing in kids left, right, and center. What player has he brought in and played? Nobody. Yeah, so this whole trust the process. Oh, he's a young manager. Oh, it's all nonsense. He has not brought through one youngster. Not one. Not Balogun. Not. He didn't bring through Saka. He didn't bring through Emil Smith Rowe. He didn't bring through Saliba. Hangs everybody out to dry who he doesn't. And he thinks he's a dictator. For me, his tactics are in the gutter. His man management is in the gutter. And this club, let me tell you something. This club is in the gutter. Fact. We're done out here. We're not a big club anymore. Leicester have replaced us in the top 6. And guess what? They got a better manager, a better structure, a better culture, and better players. We will not go anywhere as a football club with this manager in charge. Simple.
We started. By the way, mate, right? When we're like knowing how Willian's played, right, and you pick Willian over Nketiah, right, over Martinelli, sorry, when you're trying to chase a game and need 2 goals, right? That's for me says it really. But yeah, you picked up Chelsea United, but like for me, it's not enough.
Just a point that I want to add. See, the thing is, he gave Eddie a chance. Eddie failed. Eddie's out. As simple as that. One more thing with respect to you said that Arteta has not gotten youngsters, but why do you mention Emil Smith Rowe there? Emil Smith Rowe was playing almost every game. It's either Emil Smith Rowe or Odegaard. Both are young still. Emil Smith Rowe got injured in the last game. That is why he's gone off. I mean, I don't know why Emil Smith Rowe is being part of the discussion. Emil Smith Rowe came into the first.
He was brought on against when Emily was playing against Forest. He was already being on in Europa League games. And
no, but then Emery sent him out on loan. And Arteta actually played him in the Premier League regularly.
Nitsesh, what's your ratings on Arteta as man management tactics overall?
See, I would probably out of 10 give him a 5 or a 6, not more than that. But man management is not his best quality, I feel. And you are asking me about man management, so I'll say probably a 6, not more than that. He has a no-nonsense policy. Now, people say because of Willian and Aubameyang that he has bent that a bit. Yes, he does. That is what is happening with Guendouzi. Yeah. No, one more thing. Just one thing. people are reading about the Granit Xhaka comment. People say that Granit Xhaka he didn't say anything about the red card. The first part of the statement was it was passion. The second part of the statement was it was worse than Nicolas Pepe's red card. But unfortunately, the Arsenal fan base has read the first part of the statement, that is, it was passion. They have not read the complete statement, which says that it was worse than Pepe's. I can challenge anyone right now. Please read the entire statement that he said about Xhaka's red card. He brought them both back. He's not discriminated between any of those two. With respect to Saliba again, I'm saying again, Saliba, he wanted him off on loan because Saliba wanted to go back to France to meet his family. Unfortunately, the club has fucked that up. It's not Arteta, it's the club's mishandling of the player where they did not complete the paperwork in time. Otherwise, he would have gone on loan this summer. Going back on loan for such a reason, for any reason, to a club for a 19-year-old is nothing great. Chelsea does it all the time. They have 20 odd players on loan. When you know that you have limited seats in the squad, when you know that the Premier League has revised its policy and you need to send some of the players on loan. He sent out a 19-year-old on loan, which he wanted to send out on 6 months ago, but the club has not done their work. If you just see what he has said, he said at the start of a Europa League match that it is sad that I could not register Saliba because I was thinking that he is going out on loan. Arteta has said this. Arteta is the same guy who was taunting the board and the management last season at the end of that FA Cup, saying that I hope they back me because so that I want to get some players in. And one more thing, if anyone feels right now my battery is a bit low, if anyone feels that Dani Ceballos did not deserve to come back at the end of the last season, that the way he was playing, I think he did. But since he's come back, he's been shit.
What's your
Can I
rating,
just make
Steven?
one quick statement? One quick statement, yeah?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go on.
With all due respect to you, it sounds like I keep on hearing excuses and bad circumstances. I keep on hearing excuses. Oh, paperwork this. Oh, 19-year-old this. Oh, Arteta this happened to Arteta. Oh, a meteor hit the earth when Arteta did this. Oh, Arteta tried to do this, but he slipped and fell. Oh, he did this, he did that. I keep on hearing excuses. I'm not understanding what's going on. Like,
All right,
is
relentless.
it's either did it happen?
Come on,
or
relentless.
Did it not happen?
Relentless,
I'm not
man.
even trying to like. I'm not even trying.
No, I just say one thing.
After excuses.
Go
Like,
ahead.
I
Go
don't
ahead.
get
You
what's
guys
going
get
on.
to
That's
respond
his
to that.
point.
Yes,
One last thing, I think my battery is about to die, so this will be my last thing. I wanted Ancelotti at Arsenal before Arteta came in. But when I say Arteta in, I mean till the end of the season, I'm ready and patient to wait and watch what is happening. If at the end of the season, in the summer transfer window, we are getting the right kind of players that we need at Arsenal, and the start of next season looks good, I will back him till then. If the start of next season again goes downwards, then I will say that we probably need a better manager. And that is it. When someone says Arteta in, they don't mean that keep Arteta for 2 decades like we kept Wenger. They mean that at least at the end of the season, see where we finished, and next season, in the summer window, see what he brings to the club. Because he's managed to get Gabriel over Manchester United, and he's also managed to get in players like Thomas Partey. Can someone get that without without the Champions League? If Arteta can and our management can,
And
then I would like to see what they do in the summer. I would like to see what they do in the summer.
All right, Steven, what's your ratings?
I'd like to know who this guy supports for a start.
I know, I do, but
yeah, but mine. Oh, jeez, if it was after the FA Cup, I would have been absolutely lauding him. But what actually shows to me is actually what would have happened if we had him for that whole season, if we actually had him after Wenger left, right? Because half of it I do feel is down to the fact that Emery probably there's the fact that Emery only lost 3 games at the start of that season, right? And by the same point, right, I will say this, by the same point this season, Arteta had lost over double what he did. So, but yeah, my ratings are, in terms of tactical, 3 or 4. Right, it's like I said, very hot and cold, right? But most of the time, it's just not it's not there. Some of his decision making is bewildering and infuriating. And when it comes to man management, I would say, yeah, again, 4-3-4, I'd expect the better manager. Well, yeah, 3, because if you're coming out and saying I'm laying underground, to me, like, he hasn't, in my opinion, he hasn't done that at all. Right? There's been a lot of players been getting away with certain incidents, whereas others haven't. And I would just,
It's tough, right?
Yeah, I don't want to be too harsh because part of it is the board, part of it is the owners.
No, I'm
Yeah,
talking
I
about.
think
No, I think we're talking about what he's doing on the pitch.
Let me finish. Yeah, but it's just more than that. It's more than that. It's what he's doing as a coach, he's doing his transfers and stuff like that. So, yeah, for me, he's everyone's regressed. Everyone's worse than they were. How can you have 11 defeats? 11 defeats, and if you worked for the Leicester game, it would have been 10 wins, and it'd been 12 defeats, right? If Leicester had probably a Madison, to be honest, right? How the hell we're celebrating around a 32 at the Europa League like we just won the FA Cup just shows how low the standards have fallen. And some of these fans, he might say he probably doesn't, but he probably says Arteta in until he sees what he does in the summer and go from there. For me, I do see some of these fans like they want to just stick by him no matter what, right? Like they did with Wenger. And the problem is that Wenger needed to go straight, and this is the same thing. He will not get us anywhere. He will not. He will not challenge us for the top 4. He will not get us to where we need to be right now, right? We are a club of the 3rd biggest club in this country, right? We should be getting the 3rd best manager. We shouldn't be training, right, a rookie. We shouldn't, right? This, right? It's like putting in an F1 analogy. It's like putting someone in an F1 car when not been to F3 or F2, right? And expecting him to win the Grand Prix. It's not. It's not working. It's not working. And I'm sorry, right? Anyone can challenge me this, but unless he starts getting top 4, right, by the minimum, and he doesn't start pushing us forward as a football club, then I'm sorry, right? I'm not backing him. I'm not backing him. I want us to win titles, not Europa League title, not Conference League title, not the title of the bottom half, right? The bottom half of the Premier League, right? The Premier League title. This is why I wore this, right? The 98-99 badge, right? A badge that meant we won things. We won trophies. We didn't accept mediocrity. We didn't accept this bullshit, right? This is why the background is hybrid, right? Because we sold our soul to the Emirates, right? It clearly does show that the board doesn't care. It clearly shows the owners don't care. We know that, right? But as a manager, he is not good enough, right? I'm sorry. It's facts. It is fact. You cannot have 11. You cannot have 11 defeats in a season.
Yes.
And be out of everything of everything by February. Be out of everything, every fucking competition apart from the Europa League, right? Which was by the fucking narrowest margin. And the fact that he had some players like fucking Tierney and Saka who gave a shit, right? But players like. But players like that give a crap are bailing him out, right? I'm not expecting him to get us anywhere we need to be. and until people get this idea, I'm sorry, you are not going to convince me that someone who knocks us out of every competition, like throwing away the FA Cup like it was nothing, right? Throwing away everything else and getting us Europa League to the round of 16 like it's a big achievement. I watched Henri go beat the fuck out of Inter Milan at the San Siro, right, when I was 10, when we were undefeated. Right, we've gone from that to having this manager, to this owner, to this board. Right, it's an absolute joke, and the fact that fans that are commenting in here and defending it is bollocks. Right, it is bollocks, bollocks, bollocks.
But bro,
I want to win the Premier League. I want to win the Premier League. Right, I want to win things. I want to challenge for things, not be bantered every time I watch a fucking watch along. Right, by rivals because we're shit. Simple facts. Because, like I said, you cannot have, after 25 games, as an Arsenal manager, 11th. You're using Don Howard, Terry Neal as an excuse as one of the 2 worst managers. Yeah? Well, what happened? What happened when we had one of the 2 worst managers and this one's probably the 3rd worst? Right? What did we do? We got rid of them because we had a big club mentality. We got rid of them and got George Graham, and what happened? We won titles.
Can I just say one thing? Yeah.
You can sit there and say no whatsoever. But I'm sorry, when we have one of the worst managers in the league, we got rid of them, and we're.
Let it.
Like I said,
allow it.
Like I said, right. When we had one of the worst managers in our history, we got rid of him and George Graham. Then we won titles again, right? Same as like when we got rid of Bruce Wheelock, we got Bengali.
Okay. So Relentless, make your point and then let me finish it, and then we can end the debate.
Obviously, big up Luke Hill in the chat. Yeah, hopefully leave a like. Yeah, don't let even scare you off. Yeah.
Sorry.
But nah, big up yourself. But one thing, yeah, that I disagree with is that
sorry, Luke, I can't remember all the time because my memory's shit.
Yeah, but you can't just say, oh, but look at all the other teams this season. Look at all the other big teams.
Because we need to compete with them to win the league.
Bro, they keep on saying, oh, this season
not going to disappear. Sorry.
They're like fans, it's been an up and down season. Bro, for us, it's just been down. It hasn't even been up this season. It's just been down. So when will we get our chance to be happy as Arsenal fans? Are we just going to sit here and blame the board all the time or blame Arteta and say, oh, give Arteta a chance. Oh, it's nonsense, bro. No other Premier League club will deal with this nonsense. Stop.
All right, so let me finish. Let me finish real quick.
Liverpool, man.
Let me finish this. All right, so we had a lot of good points today, and I think I've actually learned some stuff from both of you guys, like everybody, even when Nitsesh was here.
Big up to you, Luke. I don't mean to go right, but if you should watch everything, mate, big up to you, right? I've got respect, to anyone that chooses me anyway. No matter if you are Arteta in or out, you are here to. You can have your opinions, right?
Yeah, so I'm gonna make this quick. So for me, Arteta's tactics, I'd give him I'd probably give him a 6, and the reason is he's shown some creativity in the sense he did change to a 3 and win us the FA Cup, and he's he has at least Pepe working on the wings and actually made him think and put him in the left and Saka on the right, which is so he's developing him that way. So I'd probably I think he has the acumen, if that makes sense. And and part of it is also the board. I think I would love to see what he could do with the 4-3-3, but I don't think it's going to be that much different. I don't think the results are going to change that drastically, because his man management is I've never seen a man management like that. Where he falls out with he makes decisions based on based on 2 games, has agendas with players, with so many favorites that stay in the team. he's gonna lose a lot of locker rooms just based on that fact alone.
Yeah, look, George, can I
so I
just
give him
add
a
this?
3.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna just go add this. Sorry,
I give him a 3 on that.
Before you carry on, I just wanted to add this.
Yeah.
It really does feel like he's acting like Jose Mourinho when it comes to that.
I feel like he's gonna end up like in that sense.
It does really feel like that, and I do worry that. Do you know what? Do you want to open a line and see if Luke
But that's at his max.
Do you want to come on?
He maxes his potential. I think
Luke
at his max potential.
Hang on, Luke Hill, do you want to come on? Because we ain't need to cross you when you need to.
Yeah. Anyway,
like I said, I do feel he's like turning Mourinho, and look what Mourinho's doing. He throws out and do you know what?
Trust me, we're gonna have to.
Hang on, I'm just gonna let Luke Hill to have his say. No one else come in. Just want to have Luke Hill have his say because
if he wants to come on.
Yeah, if he wants to come on, there's the link.
All right, so let me finish.
Everyone else who comes on getting kicked out.
Let me finish. The last thing, but the one thing I want to learn about, and that's why I suggested this on Nitesh's channel. And if you can't put his
I'm more willing to go on Nitesh. Big up to Nitesh because he's had to do that all on his own. Right? Thanks to some people.
Yeah.
Right. But it's a big up to him. Big up to him.
And for anybody who's still here,
sorry, I want to say this.
Here, subscribe to Beyond the Post. If you can put the link in his, if you can put the link
is in it. The other guy's link is in here as well, right? So is BrandonAFC's, right? Because BrandonAFC was going to do it, right? Not Relentless, but Relentless has actually stepped in. Big up to you for that, right? Thanks to you for doing that.
So the last thing I want to look at is maybe just I want to look at some stats. I know you love stats.
Sorry, I was going to mention it. Yeah, Beyond the Post's link description is in there. Go sub to him.
Just to see if I just want to see what the stats actually are like with regard to Arteta. I just want to see. As far as if I'm in or out, I mean his personality traits just make it so obnoxious that right now it has to be out. But let's see if he's actually improved the team on paper, and that's what I want to deeper dive in. And so I'm going to save my decision for that one. But apart from that, that's it.
But you can
I think some people get lost in the stats
I know, but I do want to. I do want to see if
comes in about his crossing accuracy and all this rubbish.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not really like that.
But in the end, we're not winning games. That's the most important thing as a manager. In the end, it's a results-driven business, right? You have to win games, right?
No, it's unforgivable.
Right?
It is unforgivable.
Hang on, I'll put it in F1 terms, right? If you're a driver and you're not performing, say last season was Alex Albon, he only got one podium throughout the whole season, right? For a team that should be on the podium every race, right? What happened to him? He got dumped for Perez, right?
Yeah.
They dump. Whoever's not performing gets thrown out. The next driver who is performing gets thrown in. That's how it works. But look, Luke's gonna come on and have his say. Luke, I respect you for coming on, mate. Right, by all means. I'm sorry I don't remember you being an Arsenal fan. I have that memory.
It's quite all right. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, nice one. Nice to chat to you all. No, I was only saying earlier. I think it's difficult, isn't it? I think we're all just passionate, and it's very easy. It's very easy sometimes to almost not fall out, but it's very easy to. Ultimately, the one goal for all of us is watching Arsenal win titles again. That's the bottom line, I think, for everyone.
Of course, and I think you've probably watched one of my videos where they're actually mad. And
definitely.
I saw that, and I sometimes think, do I regret that? I partly do, because there's some Arteta In fans that have genuine views, and I'm just that's not fair. But it's so it's one of those moments where I don't usually snap, but that moment I'm snapping.
No, I think.
Does somebody have music, man? Does somebody have music playing?
Yeah, someone's got music on.
It's not me.
I don't normally snap.
Is it Relentless? Are those?
Yeah, it's Steven. All right, man, Luke. What do you think about Arteta? I know it seems like you're in, and you believe in him.
I am.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think I had this before. I am sometimes, and I'm very aware I can be over positive just because I support the team, and I fully, I'm someone that's always looking for positives because I just don't personally. I'm not very good at dwelling on negatives because I let them consume it, and it's the same with Arsenal. I think you'd be there all day. You'd be there forever, looking at the negatives from the club, from and potentially some of the stuff Arteta's done too. But I'm always trying to, even at the end of the Benfica game before Tierney equalised, I was like, okay, look, this is shit. And it's going to be bad if we come out of this. Like he's going to have a rough time answering for some of this. He is, but I was also trying to find positive. I'm that kind of guy, which is again, it's a bit. Sometimes it's too much, and I get that. I also have to be very aware, and I have analysed, myself. Like again, I'm not a football pro or anything, but I have looked at. I watch AFTV every day. I watch Steve. I watch everything I can, especially fan stuff, because it's super interesting to get different opinions.
You get a real opinion as well.
Yeah, and I think you can share in opinions and get I've moved away personally from looking at the past because it's so good. There's so much history, and it's a great thing. I'm so proud of it, but I'm also like, I try not to think so much about Thierry Henry and even sort of because ultimately it's been a torrid time. It was a torrid time, like you quite rightly said. It was a torrid time towards the end of the Wenger era, and I know we'd all take finishing top 4. I know we would, but ultimately at the time we weren't happy with it because we should have done better in those seasons too. And ultimately,
15-16, we should have won it.
Yeah, we should have won it. Of course, we should. Absolutely. I mean, we're the only team to beat Leicester home and away, and we still lost by 10 points. It's absolutely mental.
And that's the thing. There's just some fans that were at the time they were just saying, "Oh yeah, but we beat Leicester home and away," and I'm like, "We didn't win the title, though."
That's the reason. That's the reason we should have won. Yeah, that's
the thing.
So how would you?
Can I just ask? Can I just quickly ask? What was your initial reaction about the Benfica game? Would you ecstatic like some fans were? Because I mean, Piers Morgan was coming out in the street. I said on the pit, during the street, Piers Morgan, I'm like, it pissed me off. Right?
And I think it was one of those where in the 90, I went mental, mate. I went absolutely berserk at the end of the game because in the 90 to turn that round was a real feat. I mean, it was one real bad error and one.
Would you say Arteta got lucky?
I think Arteta. I think there's been times in the season where you could say that certain things have fallen into his hands, where he's played certain players that maybe he wouldn't have. But again, I'll get into how positive I am about that. In the fact that I do think Arteta is learning, which he absolutely is. Every single minute he's in the role, he learns. So, putting that aside, I think Arteta got lucky, but I think the team had to dig themselves out of that. So they had. This is the other thing is that I think to some extent, Arteta puts a team out, right? And it's the same with any manager. And if the team doesn't support, he can make tactical decisions, which I agree. Some of them have been at the wrong times. But again, this is hindsight. At the same time, who on earth was going, yes, Willian was the right choice. But what did he do? He came on, he affected the game. I'm not going to applaud Arteta for that, but I'm also not going to go. It was a huge gamble, but at the same time, it worked. I think.
And I even just put an Insta like the last 2 performances saying that and just saying well done, but he needs to keep doing this now.
Credit where credit's due, and also criticism where criticism's due. And I think Arteta's very aware of that. It's something I do quite like about him. I like the way he talks about where we are as a club. He doesn't strike me as someone that is completely deluded. Like he's not like we're going to be competing for the title.
Champions League in 3 years then.
I mean, mate. I'm with you on the hope, but it's the hope that kills you with Arsenal, and that's
I don't think it's going to happen, mate. Just to be honest.
I'm not. I don't think. Luke, rate him man management and tactics and overall. Rate him
as it's gone on. I think so. Man management. I think you really have to look at it individually at that point. Aubameyang signed, right? Aubameyang signed. That's a big thing. Willian. Forget what's happened this season, but Willian joined, and nearly every other player that's come in under Arteta has joined because of him, which is weird because people used to join because of Wenger, and that was a real, and obviously because of the stature of the club. I'm not taking away from that, but the conversations very, very, very experienced players like Willian have had with Arteta, Gabriel choosing us over United, like you were talking about earlier. So I think there's something there, but in terms of man management. I mean, in my opinion, again, completely my opinion, he's played Bellerin too much this season. I think he's been dreadful for a lot of it. He's played Willian. I get what he's tried to do there. I do think as a season whole, that's a that's the signing that hasn't worked. But at the same
that's
time,
the thing. I expected him to be a squad player. I didn't want him as a main player. I thought if Saka's going to get or Martinelli's going to get burnt out, right, because he's still young, then he could come in. Especially when Martinelli at the time was injured.
So, I think actually that you bring me on to a good point about where I think Arteta's learned. Partey comes into Arsenal, he hasn't had very many injuries at all in his career, but all of a sudden they start happening, blah, blah. He pushes Partey physically back on the pitch in that Tottenham game, right? Was ultimately the wrong thing because he came back from injury. We all wanted him to come back as quick as possible, right? In that, if you remember that fixture, and all of a sudden,
I'd rather not play if he's not fully fit.
Well, I think we had that, but
all you do is make it worse.
Yeah, ultimately, I agree, and I guess definitely it was the right way to go about it in hindsight. But I think everybody was thinking strongest team against Tottenham, obviously.
It's North London derby, isn't it?
Exactly, and he pushes Partey back on the pitch. Probably ends up making the injury worse because he comes straight back off.
Because obviously that's the game I switched, and just what everything that happened in that game just maybe just like no, I can't have this.
But I think he learnt from that personally. In that moment, I think he learnt that was a really dumb thing to have done, and I think that's where it's been different this time. He's brought Partey back in very slowly, slower than maybe some people would have wanted.
So what's the number you'd give though? What's the number you give?
Martinelli.
Yes, we got about this on. Sorry, anyway.
We'll just keep going on.
It's brilliant, but you got.
Okay, so if I again, purely my opinion, but in terms of man management, I think it would be relatively positive. I don't think it would be any higher than like between a 5 and a 6.
Okay.
I think that's really. I'm going to go 6 because Aubameyang signed. He's got the young players playing with such fight that it's inspiring the friggin' older players that, let's not forget, ended up failing Wenger and failed Emery. And I think that he's brought in something where it's gone completely backwards because the young kids have ended up teaching the older squad mates. But ultimately, I think. So I don't know what I'm rating their man management or tactics, but either way, I think I'd probably end up giving them both. I'd probably give tactics just a little bit under because I think there has been, again, he's learning, but at the same time, I've not had a single issue with our formation all season. He's played maybe the lineup, but the formation has worked fine for us. Defensively, man,
you're an ultra positive person, man. Like I see that.
Wenger.
It's not that. It's just that.
Yeah, man. I was thinking, hang on, Everton game, and I'm like, what? What did we do?
No, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's okay, but I mean, what I'm saying is like, for our club, I think. For our club, we're like to be like,
thing, that's where we want to be. Hang on, sorry, just say I don't mind having fans come on, rival fans come on, and I don't mind having Arteta fans coming on and saying, like, this is my view, and I feel this is why you are managers. It's the ones that say, oh, you've got to have faith, you've got to do this, you've got to trust.
I'm not going to be an evangelical.
I respect your opinion, but I don't have to have your opinion.
No, of course you don't, and ultimately. We all sit and watch every single game, every single interview, and we watch it over and over again. Exactly, and we can take what we want from it. And again, maybe it is just my sort of personality thing on it. And I definitely don't think that Arteta has been, I don't want to have arguments about who we should have got because it's done now. And otherwise you just sit forever and just talk about, and that's what I mean. It's not criticism because these conversations are there, but I don't want to talk about it personally.
Ultra positive, man. Ultra positive.
Yeah. Well, look,
there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just
but what does it change now? Sorry. What does it change now? What does it change now? Talking about who we should have got.
No,
that's my point.
Because we're starving for trophies, man. Right?
Of course,
we're starving.
No, I fully get that.
So I feel like
I saw one win under 10. He didn't. He came in 2006, so he was good.
Yeah. So when you're starving for something, you want to go get it, right? Like you want to have somebody, who's done it, experienced, and knows how to do a job. You don't want to be led by the wrong people, right?
No, yeah, I can agree with that.
So in that sense, when we're rating our manager, and we're giving for our standards, we deserve to be at the highest, right? But really high because we're the third biggest club in England.
Does the the club deserve to be there, given the way that they've backed the managers? Does like the modern club? Does the modern club?
Our standards should be that high.
Does Stan Kroenke deserve to be?
Yeah. Well, this is what I'm saying. When I was
our
not
standards
marking,
deserve to be up there.
Half of it is the board, half of it is the
yeah.
owners. Right?
So in that sense, we should
it's
as
not
fans, we should
completely
voice our
Arteta,
opinion to want that. We should voice our opinion for that standard.
Definitely. Oh, I'm not against
So that's why, like, I'm saying, like,
saying,
it's not that we hate Arteta as a person.
Not. Yeah.
I don't think any of us hate Arteta as a person.
No.
But as far as his job goes,
that,
I think there's better options, and I think that's why I'm Arteta.
I feel sorry. Like I've said, I feel sorry for him in a ways because he's been taken. Yeah. You wouldn't turn down the Arsenal job at any point, right? And then he's been sort of just shoved in there, and
in the hardest year you could possibly be a manager, right?
Yeah,
COVID,
of course.
Yeah, and that's why, like, that's why we're trying to have a fair debate on this.
You've got and plus you've got an owners that don't back you, really.
Yeah. And look, do you not think he's got the best out of some of these players that ultimately need to go? I mean, he finally got rid of some of the deadwood. He managed to get rid of Ozil in a January window. And I think that he's got the best. I mean, Xhaka, the last sort of 10 games, as much as he's obviously got a mistake in him, he's played 90 minutes for the last 12 games. And he's been really good.
For some of them, you have to compare them relative to others. Xhaka, like, again, if we're judging him to be a top 3 player in the Prem, is he there?
Oh, yeah,
like, you have to have those.
Bargav, after your point, can I speak after your point?
Go ahead. You can go right ahead.
Yeah, go.
No, finish your point.
No, it's just like, for me, like, we have to be chasing, if we're trying to be in the hunt for things, right? For the last 10 years, we have not been in the hunt. Our seasons have been done after December and February.
Yeah.
All but like maybe 2 seasons, right?
Maybe an FA Cup. Just that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we just didn't get
as fans, we gotta have those high standards.
We needed.
And this is the problem: is when people are critical, it's because our standards are slowly dropping, and the more we get used to it, the more fans are getting used to it, and no longer voicing their opinions like that.
Yeah.
The more like we're giving the board that kind of leeway.
I respect that definitely, and certainly in response to the positivity, which is
and then in terms of these fan channels, they're holding these clubs accountable in that way. So that's why.
Yeah, anyway, I agree.
Can I make a point real quick? Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Relentless.
The reason why sometimes I go on these podcasts and I get a bit too passionate. And I come off a bit aggressive towards like other people who have different opinions, but the thing is that I just hold this club accountable for so many things. I hold this club accountable. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, just about, yeah.
I hold this club accountable for almost everything because for me, growing up, I didn't get to see, Henry or Bergkamp or Perez or Limburg. I didn't get to see all these players. Like, to be honest, like, the only 2 teams I really watched growing up was Real Madrid and Arsenal. The only real success I saw was Real Madrid. So growing up, it was like, why can't this other club do it? What's going on at this other club? I'm like, I'm not comparing, a giant with another, club that's failing. But I'm looking at clubs. I'm seeing Robert Van Persie. I'm seeing Fabregas. I'm seeing our best players leave. Even like my dad was telling me about Ashley Cole, how he left. I'm like, what's going on?
Probably one of the last great left backs. Yeah, I can see that. And he went to a rival.
Yeah, I'm seeing the club fall down. I'm seeing 8-2, 6-0 at Stamford Bridge. I'm seeing, kids are coming up to me in school being like, oh, you support a dead club. Oh, you should support Chelsea. You should support Man United. I'm like, why does this club have to always have a process? If you know what I'm trying to say. Why can't it just be, let's look at Chelsea won the Champions League. How can we get to where Chelsea are? How can we? It shouldn't be. And this is why I don't really agree with this whole Arteta In thing, because I look at Chelsea, even though they took a chance with Lampard, they was like, oh, wait, damn, we messed up with this, giving this rookie a job. Let's go get a proper manager. And that's what they did. And now look at them. You can say, oh, yes, trust the process. But what you're doing here is that you're taking a big, big risk And Chelsea realized they took that risk. They didn't care if he was a legend. They didn't care how many goals he scored. They said, you know what, Lampard, you're not good enough. And when will this club man up and say, you know what, we made the wrong choice?
Well,
when will they say, you know what,
like they did with Emery?
Yeah, they did with Emery, but
they only did that because there was anti-season and it last game.
In my opinion, Emery was a better manager than Arteta. But for some reason, we're holding on to Arteta. We're holding on to. We have to be. We can't just say a trophy. We can't just say, "Oh yeah, a trophy makes him the best, better than him." You can't say that. Di Matteo won the Champions League, and Di Matteo won the Champions League based on why. What happened to him next season? They got knocked out of the Champions League.
I mean, you could say the same for Conte. You could say the same for Sarri.
It might be realistic, but it's still lowering the standards. We expect it still. It might be realistic, but we expect more from our club. We should, especially in this pandemic era, when they announced, for example, that we had no fair play, that was the perfect time for Arsenal. Because the amount of money they've made out of us is unreal. We could have just gone, boom, here you go, as much money as you want. Go and get the players you need. Go and get rid of the deadwood you need. Here we go. I mean, you even pay players off to get them off the wage bill, like they did in the summer. And this is what I'm saying. If you had that advantage of no fair play, right? We know Man City don't really care if there's fair play or not, to be honest. Right? But if we've got no financial fair play, that we've always been like, oh well, we can only do loan deals because of it. We can only do this. We can only do that. Why don't you just take that advantage and just go, here you go, as much money as you want, do what you want.
Well, we're in the top 10 like richest clubs, right?
Because then the ball can't be blamed because can
I finish my point?
Someone that says our standards haven't dropped. Think about it. We're in the title hunt. We were in the title hunt earlier.
No, they have
it might be realistic.
Now we're trying to get back in the top 4.
Yeah, being realistic, but no, right? I'm a realist, but I don't expect my standards to be dropped. I expect my club to be saying this ain't acceptable and want to go back to the top. Right?
I don't think standards should have been dropped. I think for a brief moment, expectation should have dropped and then slowly rise, right? Because Arteta came in, we don't know what to expect, and ultimately, every time we go on a run, and it's been poor again this season. It has been a tough season, but I do think there are other reasons for that, and I do think the ultimate. And I'm not going to say this after this season, I promise, but I do think the ultimate test will be the beginning and the middle of next season, because I think Arteta will have had more than enough, not more than enough time, more than enough rope to, given to him, and plus we should be out of this, hopefully out of this awful situation, and fans can be, because ultimately fans not being in that ground, we know what fans can do. We know that fans can help make subs quicker. Fans can help make subs look stupid and line up, disagree with the lineup. They can also get behind the team, and there's a huge momentum. So it's really interesting. It's an interesting season.
I'd say we should probably end it there saying it's not that you're right in that sense where you said like our expectations have dropped, and that's the problem, because now we're letting the boards get away with it, and we saw what happened with Raul. It's a slippery slope at the end of the day. We start, we don't hold them accountable, then what? Pretty much like we're going to end up in the Crystal Palace situation. Look at what happened to Portsmouth. It can happen.
I think Arteta is going to end up like the Boris Johnson, that he's not the guy potentially making all the stupid calls, but he's the face of it, and he's the one that's going to pay the price.
Can I just ask? Hang on. We've got to wrap this up soon anyway.
Yeah. I'm telling you.
I will just say this is that when it comes down to next, this is the thing. I just don't believe that this board, knowing what it's been like before, will back this manager. I just don't feel it will. It will probably go, here's one, then we'll wait till Partey's the last minute, because I don't care what everyone says. People might say it was a done deal. That Partey one was made to look like it was a last.
I was sweating.
That was a last minute deal to say, look, we've saved the window. Look, woohoo! Right?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they played that at the right time to make it look like more of a successful window.
To make it look like we've saved something.
Contract was signed 2 months ahead of time. Right? Never announced it until they're until what like until no, what happened now?
Well, when's he going to do it? Is it going to be the 14th?
The layoff.
14th.
The layoff. Think about that. The layoff.
Yeah.
So our board does do psychological stuff. I mean.
Yeah.
So
it's all PR. This is why I say when you trust the process thing. They've been spinning that for about 16 odd years.
Yeah.
They've been spinning that so many times, and it's just like that is literally PR. They literally just words to try and get to say.
Relentless. What was the end of your point, man?
I think the reason why this club is not where they were years and years ago. You know, I mean, last night before I went to sleep, funny enough, I was actually watching Thierry Henry against. Now, who did we play? Jeez, I forgot. I think it was him against Real Madrid. And I was just looking like at one point we were actually competing with Real Madrid during the Galacticos era when they had, you know, Ronaldinho, Beckham, flipping Raul, all of them guys. And we at one point we were actually competing with them.
Ronaldinho, he didn't go to Real Madrid.
Crazy. And to think how far we've fallen, I think social media plays a big part. I think the Emirates plays a big part. I think Arsene Wenger played a big part as well.
Yeah.
I
think we need. You're right though. All of you are right about the voicing the opinions, and I think it's very evident now that like stuff's been coming out about how, you know, because players get stick, and ultimately they deserve it when they do, because we'd be in the ground shouting at them. So we deserve to, you know, not abuse, but you know, you deserve to voice your opinion, and ultimately I think that's had a big impact on Arsenal actually this season. I think look at Granit Xhaka. I mean that was very wrong, the abuse he got, but man, the guy's a different player these days. But I agree with you. I agree with you on that. I'm not going to carry on because I think you're trying to wrap up, so I won't start again.
You're more than welcome to your opinion as always. Just say this.
Hey, come on the channel more, man. Come on the channel more. Like,
I love it. I'm actually on AFTV on Saturday. I think Cecil, I'm going to be doing a fan cam, so stick around for that. Hopefully, I'm trying to get
back in contact with him. I've got his phone number, Robbie, but I keep trying to get in contact with him.
Oh, see, it's not with Robbie. It's just obviously Cecil and James.
I'll look out for it, but I'll try and get back in contact with him about this 550 thing.
That's how I started following you actually, mate. Was I think you went to Box Park with Robbie,
Wembley,
and that's where I sort of heard about your story and stuff, because you sort of spoke briefly about like giving props to Don Robbie, who deserves it ultimately, and that's how I got onto you and sort of following along with your.
Yeah, so I had a bleed, so I had to go back into hospital.
Yeah, and that's ultimately what
he messaged me straight after.
Yeah, he's a great dude, and again, another channel that I like that they're not censored on what they say. You've got different personalities on there. I really enjoy it. I enjoy that too. I enjoy listening to all of them.
Give us a shout out, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I will do. No worries. If I get on there, hopefully you're trying to get on after Burnley with Cecil, but we'll see, and hopefully we're talking about another 3 points. That's
hopefully, that's the main thing. Anyway.
Hopefully.
I hate the fact that it's that hopefully, especially after the fucking last Burnley game.
Next week is the big week for me, like Olympiacos and LD.
Olympiacos.
You have to show up both games. I don't care how you do it. Right? Show up both games. Show up both games.
Socrates will score an overhead kick.
Next 3 games.
My words.
Socrates is going to score the bloody winner. And like I already said, right? The process has come back to bite you. Right? The process has now come back to bite you. Right? The process, your process is just not that Europe. Thank you very much.
Let's try and take again. I'm going to try and take as much positive as possible. But let's go again.
Yeah, don't worry about going back in that dead competition anymore.
Yeah, man. Cool. I'm going to bounce anyway, so that
But
cheers for having me on.
Tuned in.
Nice to chat to you guys.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you. It's thanks for everyone that's tuned in, and big up to everyone that's tuned in. Big up to Nitsesh, who had to do that on his own. Luke, go check out his fan cam when it comes out on AFTV. Right, don't start to you. Right, shut up. I'm trying to end it. Bargav, the moderator, the Don moderator, but they just about kept us on the quiet. And everyone in the chat, we value all your opinions, right? But the debate will keep going on, and it will keep going on until like something major happens. And, like, obviously for me, I want a better manager, but for some people, they feel it's going to happen with Arteta. So we'll have to wait and see. But until then, everyone stay safe, stay well, and we will see you later on this evening. We've got the watch on for the Man United game. As long as I don't piss people off, that is. But there you go.
Hopefully they lose.
Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, everyone take care.
Yo, that exit always gets me.
Apparently, doing a good countdown as well. So, Lee Chappie's supposed to be coming up with a scoreboard.
Man, that was a good stream. I mean, that turned out to be a good stream. We made something happen out of it.
Hang on.